All right, here we go. Okay. Is it a hump or a drop? What do you say? You got to twist your words in every which way, because the motto will always dictate what you do. Everybody knows that you've got the model affliction blues. Is it a straight line or does it curve? Some people unclamp it, but that is absurd. We all know that the model will always dictate what you do. Everybody knows that you are model afflicted blue. Model affliction. It's your addiction. That model affliction. It brings you so much pain. It's your ball and chain. Conflating curvature with elevation change has got your local distance just out of range. That old biggie is gonna dictate everything that you do. And everybody knows that you got the model affliction blue. It's your decision defending the model position. You just don't know the geometric proposition. That old ball, it'll always be illogical to you. That's why perpendicularity is a puzzle to you. Model affliction. It's your addiction. Model affliction. It brings you so much pain. It's your ball and chain.
World famous Buster. And we are live. Welcome everyone. It is a Model Affliction Monday as always. Can't really get rid of that, can we? I think that's a thing that we have. A few things to go over today, right? Since this, I think this Model Affliction's becoming a little bit easier to see, easier to spot. And I don't know exactly how you end up model afflicted. I think it's mainly because you put on the sides, right? You've been given options of different sides to be on. That's it. Most people come in from the viewpoint of reality, ask a few questions and get directed into two sides. It's a false dichotomy, but Modern life, right? 2023. That's where we're at. Right now, was it last week? Maybe the week before. Might have been last week. Right, we did a model affliction Monday of a guy who said that triangles have more than 180 degrees. And today, there's been a reply. Well, there's been a reply that I saw. Appears he's been replying to other people and not me, so I wouldn't get any notifications. Apart from the one today. So I think we'll go over that first. Let me just get this sorted out for you guys. And which screen is it? Okay. Right, so this guy does a video. I put a reply to it. Is the angle sum of a triangle is not always 180 degrees. Well, if there's a proof that triangles have 180 degrees, then you can't really have a proof that triangles don't have 180 degrees. It seems contradictory, and since we're dealing with mathematics, this guy says it depends whether you're on a flat or curved space, not just a curve, like a regular curved surface. No, a curved space. It's different, right? Not like, I don't know where you find this curved space. A lot of people seem to think it's just on the outside of a ball, but I mean, that's not curved space. That's a curve within Euclidean space. So the space doesn't curve, it goes along the axis, right? So I put, we do live in Euclidean space though. A sphere is a Euclidean solid shape. You should be aware of the self-refuting claim you make when you reference the plane to the surface of this solid shape. You made a video over a year ago. Have your opinions changed? And can you talk about the logic behind your statements? Hit me up. He then does a massive comment. We did go through it. I say, thanks for the reply. We're a small YouTube channel that deals with the first principles of thought and gaining knowledge. Your opinions and critique of our review will be welcome. We'll be going over this video live on Monday at 8 PM. That was last week, I think. Blue Marble then comments 3 days after I commented. And Blue Marble says, I've asked several times. Let's try again. Please give me a definition of Euclidean space and tell me why the surface of a ball is Euclidean space. Can you do that, Bev? Well, turns out I've done it loads of times to Blue Marble, but it's like he doesn't hear it. Like, you guys must have heard me reply to him about this sort of shit. But yeah, he doesn't hear it. So Blue Marble's got a problem. Either a memory problem or a hearing problem. Don't know which one. Then the Goblin 957, not Goblin number 1, the 957th Goblin says to Scholar Source, right? He's replying back to this guy. He says, just so you know, you're talking to a flat earther who thinks everything is Euclid. He straight up doesn't accept the existence of spherical triangles. No, only triangles have 180 degrees in Euclidean. So there are no triangles existing that aren't Euclidean triangles. They just don't exist. But, I mean, why this guy's telling the guy, I'm asking the guy for a conversation, and Goblin, 957th Goblin, and Scholar Source doesn't reply to me. He says, thanks. I think I saw you in the chat of their live stream, right? So he did see the live stream. I've asked him for a comment, but he's not. He's replying to Goblin. He says, I glanced at it after the fact. pushing back against their denial of these mathematical facts. I appreciate the support and for your comment here too. So this goblin, supposedly, when we were doing the live stream, goblin was pushing back against their denial of these mathematical facts. Well, I don't know which mathematical facts there are. It can't be about triangles not having 180 degrees, because it's a fact that there are proofs that triangles only have 180 degrees. So, I mean, it can't be a mathematical fact that triangles don't. Never seen it. So the goblin then replies once again, I was indeed in those trenches. Talking to flat earthers is a hobby of mine. I don't know who the flat earthers were, right? So this is where we're going, right? Scholar Source, the guy that makes the video, is now talking to the goblin, who I don't know who he is. Apparently, he was in the live chat when we did the thing. But he had nothing to do with the show or anything. Didn't voice his opinions or anything. All right. To which Goblin then says, question, what did you think of Bev's stream? Personally, I found it to be unintelligible ramblings, right? So I'd already asked him for a critique of our thing, and it looks like he went to the live stream, and now he's talking to Goblin about it, right? He didn't reply to us, but he's going to reply to Goblin. Goblin, 11 hours ago, says, sorry for the slow reply. I'll be honest, 4 hours is an awful lot of time, and I did not watch the whole thing, although I did skim through some of it. So this is his review of what we did. Not talking to us about it. He's talking to the Goblin, the 957th Goblin, who we haven't got a clue who that is. He said, from what I saw, they seem to have completely misunderstood practically everything I said, including taking my initial joke in this video far too seriously. He was joking about teachers lying, I think. Teachers lying to students. Imagine that. Imagine us taking that a bit too seriously. He's wrote a lot. He's wrote a lot to the Goblin. Not to us, to the Goblin. But, I mean, look at this review. Including take my initial joke on this video far too seriously, when it was simply meant as a hook. A hook? I mean, it's a pretty big hook, isn't it, that teachers lie to people. But, I mean, we'll see what he is. They got hung up on simple concepts like using the term space, inverted commas. I don't know whether that's Frantic Bunny ears or the spoken space, or not space, right? The not that space. To simply mean a geometric or topological system. Wow. Regardless of dimension. I mean, how can you have a topographic system without dimension? Anyone? Topological system without dimension. Space. And not specifically a 3D space. Not. Anyone else? What's not a 3D space? Because I consider that as being reality. If you're listening, Scholar Source. Overall, wait a minute. Though maybe that's my fault for using more advanced mathematical lingo than they are accustomed to. I can't remember any particularly mathematical terms that he used that seemed to be out of the realm, whatever. But hey, It says, overall, it was hard to take seriously criticism about mathematics from a bunch of guys who got lost in a simple algebra computation partway through my video. I think we pulled apart his, like, right at the very beginning, his initial premise was flawed. But he waited until the algebra bit. Nicely done. If you can't even keep track of a variable in an equation, then there's not much hope for you to be able to actually understand much of what Euclid said. Much less anything that modern mathematics has done. Built upon it, they have. They also didn't seem to do any homework on this video at all prior to their stream, and apparently couldn't even be bothered to Google my name and find out if I was a university professor or somewhere or not. Anyone want to do that? Scholar Source, is that the Google, the name? Well, let's have a look. Let's go back again. Scholar Source. Anyone? Is Scholar Source a professor? Anyone know? I don't really want to be doing it live, but he's asking, like, he's saying that that's our failing for not Googling this guy, as if it makes any difference whether he's a professor or not, right? We were reviewing the video that he was going over. If anybody's out there, just let us know. Google it for us. Let's see if we can find out if this guy actually is a university professor or not. He says, the truly ironic thing is, though, is that their belief with me is about spherical geometry. Fact that shows that spheres do not satisfy Euclidean geometry. Let me read that again. It didn't seem to compute. The truly ironic thing is, though, is that their beef with me is about a spherical geometry fact that shows that spheres do not satisfy Euclidean geometry. They're defined within Euclidean geometry. Why should they not satisfy it? I don't understand. The sphere doesn't need to satisfy Euclidean geometry. The sphere is defined within Euclidean geometry. Book 11. Solid geometry. I think it's definition 15. Don't quote me on it, though. Who knows which book you're going to be using. Around that, though. Definitely. Have we got a confirmation that he is a professor? Because, I mean, well, modern mathematics. As long as we know, right, this is what we're dealing with. This is the new. Yeah, Eric says the sphere is Euclidean. I'll read it again. The truly ironic thing, though, is that their beef with me is about a spherical geometry fact that shows that spheres do not satisfy Euclidean geometry. I told him. He has to watch out what he's doing at the beginning, because self-refuting claims. Like, how do you have spherical geometry that says that spheres aren't Euclidean? It says here in this geometry that spheres aren't Euclidean. But it says in Euclidean geometry the definition of a sphere. Which one do you trust? Like, has anybody seen the definitions of spherical geometry that say that, like, the Euclidean definition of sphere isn't? I don't know. I don't think geometries falsify other geometries. The geometries are meant to be the proof. He says, but the ancient Greeks, including Euclid, talked about spherical geometry. Brackets. See his work. Phenomena. It's not Euclid's work, but I mean, if you want to pretend it is, just like attribute something to Euclid that wasn't Euclid and definitely wasn't part of the elements. Oh, look at the lights in the sky. We'll pretend that's geometry, right? That falsifies the elements, the foundations of geometry. And understood it as a separate type of thing that was not described by Euclid's plane of geometry described in the elements. Let me say that again. But the ancient Greeks, including the Euclid history, but the ancient Greeks, including Euclid, talked about spherical geometry and understood it as a separate type of thing that was not described in Euclid's plane of geometry, described in the elements. But it was defined. A sphere is defined within the elements, book 11. But I mean, if this guy wants to go and talk to, you know, Goblin 957, or if he wants to come over here, I mean, it would be much better if he wants to come over here and have a, you know, a chat with us. I mean, he is a proposed professor at a university. He should be used to talking to people. I would have thought so anyway. Like, I'm not saying anything wrong about what he's saying. Like he's the professor, right? Why can't the professor come and talk to us? Why does he have to go through Goblin 957? Perhaps he's shy. I feel like talking to his students, right? Surely professors can talk to anyone. The concepts of great circles being the straight lines, brackets, or at least shortest paths in spherical geometry, and triangles that in geometry have more than 180 degrees, were facts that were known to the Greeks. Well, see, Euclidean geometry's got a triangle as being a trilateral figure. Like straight lines, not great circle straight. Like straight. Euclidean straight. So the Greeks, I think the Greeks would have known what a straight line is. And he's saying that they didn't. They were unsure on what a straight is. Throw a sphere in there, they get all confused. They don't, because, you know, a diameter and a radius of a sphere are straight. So you can't really get confused about the circumference being also straight. Or I wouldn't say so anyway. Not back in the old days. He said, the concepts of great circles being straight lines in spherical geometry and triangles that in geometry having more than 180 degrees were facts that were known to the Greeks, certainly by the time of Ptolemy. Though it's possible that they didn't really think of that as geometry. But still, the fact that the Greeks knew that there were places in the real world where Euclidean geometry did not quite apply. It doesn't sound like a mathematical term. Is pretty apparent, and yet these guys can't accept some real things just aren't Euclidean. They believe Euclid in one place, but ignore him in another. Well, come and have a chat about it. Like, we do a lot of Euclid stuff, and I know we're going to go into the basics in a bit and maybe show the failings of this guy when it comes to the real world practical application of this sort of stuff. But I mean, I don't think he's bothered about that. He's living in a mathematical place. He says, do you know much about these guys? This is him talking to Goblin. He's talking to Goblin about this. Rather than coming in, Scholar Source, the door's open. It's a Discord channel. The YouTube chat's there. You won't have been blocked. So you could just type it in the chat or something. Like, type a comment on the video that you're responding to instead of talking to Goblin. I mean, like, we don't know who Goblin is. The 957th Goblin. Do you know much about these guys? I thought at first that they were just a bunch of flat earthers. But after glancing through some of their content, I can see them arguing with Nathan Oakley about the shape of the Earth through some incorrectly constructed modus tollens arguments. Come and have a chat with us about it. It's Scholar Source. You're a university professor. You'll be able to get your logic department involved in this with these modus tollens that we present. I said, I'm really not sure what they think about the shape of the Earth. It's irrelevant, really, to these mathematical discussions, what shape you think the Earth is. But, I mean, hey, university professors might end up being model afflicted too. And that's exactly what we deal with. Shape of the Earth model affliction. We're specialists in it, Scholar Source. Come and have a chat. I'm not really sure what to think about the shape of the Earth. Are they flat earthers or conspiracy theorists of some kind? Or a bunch of guys that aren't willing to listen to anyone who knows something about a topic if it contradicts their presupposed ideas? Now, we are also studying the contradictions, just like reality versions of them, practical. The practical application of Euclidean geometry, Euclidean logic, reasoning, gaining knowledge. We're all in for that, and for the communication. The goblin replies back to him. Says, they are flat earthers, but they dresses it up in fancy lingo. Bev and his crew basically asserts that level is the same thing as horizontal. And surveyors describe the Earth as a level. So you get what they're arguing. No, we just state that level is straight line on a horizontal plane. Very simple. And we can prove it. That's what we state. Also, this guy gets very anal about wording. So if you use a figure of speech or an analogy, they don't vibe. They lose their shit. That's us. That's what he thinks. The goblin's sort of maybe misrepresenting us. But, you know, like if the guy doesn't want to watch videos and go over 4 hours of the stream where we're reviewing his video, you may as well just ask some goblin in the chat, right? They'll tell you more about it. Again, Scholar Source, the door is open. Just come in and have a chat. It should be easy. And then he puts another one, right? He's in another comment. That comment wasn't enough. Didn't want to edit it. Just do another one. Another comment from the same guy. Basically, Bev describes himself as somebody who thinks the Earth is level. No, he doesn't. Bev's never described himself as that. So, goblins are known to lie now. The level equals horizontal. He gets upset with Oakley because he calls himself a flat earther. I don't get upset with Nathan Oakley. Nathan Oakley's the flat earther. He is a flat earther. I don't get upset with him because of that. He's probably one of the better flat earthers, right? So, I don't get upset with Nathan Oakley. Bev objects because the Earth has topography. Objects to what? Again, goblins are known to misrepresent people. But, I mean, this is what we have to deal with. When Scholar Source, the university professor, decided to not come in here and talk to us about it, he decided to talk to just some random goblin. Is that what professors do? Maybe shy. I don't know. There's no need to be. And he seemingly can't wrap his head around conversational English. Bev objects because the Earth has topography, and he seemingly can't wrap his head around conversational English. Thus, he interprets flat Earth as a denial of topography. No, I've always been asking them, what do they mean by flat? It's very strange. I mean, it's just a simple question. People don't seem to be able to reply to that. And then I say to Scholar Source, because the first time I got a notification about any of this that they're talking about, I said, you could come and ask us yourself. You won't get an honest answer from someone so model afflicted. I'll go over this tonight at 8 p.m. UK. That's us here. If you're going to watch it at a later date, I've made sure that we do it at the beginning here. Scholar Source. Has anybody managed to find him as a professor? I mean, he did say we should look him up to do some background information. Anybody done that? Do I have to do it?
I haven't done it yet, but I am curious about his this spherical geometry in Ptolemy times, because he's making claim that spherical geometry was known among ancient Greeks, but they didn't consider it as geometry, which is contradictory statement, by the way. But yes, the concept of great circles, etc. Yes,
Yeah.
in spherical geometry.
Though it's possible that they
possible
didn't
that they
really
didn't
think of it
yeah.
as geometry. It's possible.
So this is just contradiction.
Yeah.
He's making some claims. I would say that citation is needed here. Where did he find this? This Ptolemy and in his times spherical geometry, and these triangles with greater angles than normal. He should back up his claim, because this is just ridiculous what he's saying.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, does it? It doesn't make any sense why a supposed professor would tell us to Google him, and we can't really seem to find anything. Like, he's not got any citations on it, has he? Let's see. Scholar Source about.
Lots of us have played the typical JRPGs like Final Fantasy or Wild Arms. They often follow a similar formula. You travel the world on a quest to stop some overwhelming evil and have to walk from place to place until that sweet day when you finally get some kind of airship plane or interstellar dragon. It's a pretty sweet time flying all over the world and completing fetch quests, collecting collectibles, and playing card games. So in this...
Can't find out. It doesn't say. He's not got a name there. What about this? Texas outline, music, featured playlist, music, Scholar Source. It's not in the about. Don't know. Like, literally, the guy's saying that we should be looking him up to check whether he is a professor. Perhaps that was the idea, right? We're meant to look him up and find out that he isn't. He's just lying about it. Perhaps. I don't know. Just some guy who's made a video. He's only got 507 subscribers. Not even got, like, none of his subs, none of his students. Maybe he might be keeping it quiet. I don't know. I don't know. How do we... Scholar Source. We put, up to put that. Where's all of these replies gone? Have they all just disappeared? Wow. There was a Blue Marble one, wasn't there? I bet Blue Marble might have deleted his one, and that'll have deleted everything else underneath it.
So in this...
Oh no, 12 replies are here. Sorry for the slow reply. Reply to this one. But we couldn't find your name to Google. What is it? SC Scholar Source.
SC.
Oh. C8. What's it? A professorship? My keyboard. Right, that's it. Professors, yeah, no, nobody can find anything. Yeah. Okay, so sorry about that. Professor, if you are a professor, you're keeping it hidden, and I wouldn't be surprised because you possibly be embarrassed about it. It's mathematics department. Logic department would definitely be embarrassed about you not understanding the modus tollens to prove that the Earth's not flat. Don't listen to goblins in the chat. Normally, if you want to find anything out about somebody, go and ask them themselves. We've offered you. We've gone over this a few times. Okay, so thanks a lot, Professor. Was 5 hours ago. What's going on? Is it messing us about? Because the thingy, the thumbnail didn't go through. Ask him, but it looks like it's there already. Hours ago. What's going on? So yeah, it looks like YouTube messing about with us. Don't know if people are here or not, whether what they've been doing. Model Affliction Monday. We're talking about the last globe surveyor. The thumbnail isn't on there for some reason. It's decided to take that off, but although it's showing there on Askins. When did it? Okay. Right now, so I've been away talking to people, like, because what I did was I started this conversation a bit ago. What we found was that the more we talk to people, the worse it seemed to make them react. Now, we did have a guy around here. We affectionately call him George, not Sack. He'd understand. He was a pretty cantankerous old man, but he was lost. He was lonely. We've gone over a fair few videos with him, talking to him. He was one of the most talkative people, and near the end, when he stopped coming around here, he really wanted to be one of the guys. He was lost. He had a dog called Khan. He used to go everywhere with him. And yeah, Khan was getting a bit ill, and George really wanted to come on a trip. He wanted to come to the UK. He wanted to come and meet Emma. He wanted to go and take Emma out for a meal. He wanted to come over and meet Gadget. There's a lot of these sort of things going on. So George wanted to come over, but unfortunately, Rumpus didn't get his test done. Like Rumpus at the Bedford, like we were all gonna meet him. Rumpus didn't want it. Rumpus didn't finish it, and sadly, George is no longer with us. Something happened. We don't know what, but George is no longer with us. So there'll be nobody else to do the work that George did. There's a lot of people want to be able to use what George did, but they don't want to mention his name. So we like to give George the credit where credit's due. Now, over the weekend, we've been talking to people about some of the things that we found through the understanding of what George was talking about. And I've been going out, having chats with people, because it seems now people might be ready for the simplicity. We call it advanced simplicity, but the simplicity of an argument about the plane of the horizon being horizontal, right? And the implications of such a simple statement upon people with a model, right? The affliction of this model leads to really strange reactions, really, when they're told about this horizontal thing. And I got chance to meet, as the title says, the last globe surveyor, Larry Scott. Now, I have had a conversation with Larry Scott a few times. Larry Scott is the man that told my son that triangles have more than 180 degrees. So it does follow on from what this guy's talking about, right? The guy, scholar source, the supposed professor, but unverified, right? He just claims to be a professor. Or does he claim to be a professor? Or is it just sort of making people believe that he's a professor by using these vacuous statements where you can believe it if you want, and you can believe that he said it if you want, but I don't think he has actually said it. So go on.
Sorry, I don't believe that he's professor, because when he was talking about this ancient geometry, etc., so as professor of mathematics, he should know from what sources we can know about the spherical geometry in ancient times. He should know that. Oh, there is a book of Ptolemy or whatever it was, and he should bring it up. Name of this book or whatever, or books. But this is just empty claim. So I don't believe that he is professor of mathematics. And he's saying such things about spherical geometry without any backup. So I don't believe.
Okay, well, I mean, that's up to the professor. He doesn't call himself a professor, right? So he's not going to fall down the Professor Dave route, or even the Professor Phil Bell route, where, like, we know that Professor Phil Bell is just a YouTube character, right? Scholar Source is just a YouTube character. He's made some videos about teachers lying and triangles having more than 180 degrees, which is obviously a lie. Even though Larry Scott, the last great globe surveyor, he told my son that triangles have more than 180 degrees. Now, he couldn't prove it either. They just say it, right? And then when they say these sort of things to young, impressionable minds, young, impressionable minds remember it. Let me get onto this. Let me swap the windows over for you. Is that all right for you guys? I want to see these screen grabs. Let me. And a couple of these little bits saved. So there's a couple of things here that I've been over. So one of them, maybe both of them, I went over to the MMM server, Discord server, Medicinal Mass Media, I think it's called, something like that, owned by a guy called Demon Stride. And yeah, he called us over, a couple of them. But this was like, these are in order. So we'll start off with a conversation that I had. I went over there. We were talking about I don't know. Let's just I don't know whether it starts at the beginning or let's see. Listen to this. Can you hear that? Is that working all right for you guys? Because your mods just get triggered. They don't want them. Yeah. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a initial conversation. I've just entered to the chat. We'll go give you the little bit at the beginning, so you get to hear the introduction, and I'll skip through a few bits of it. I have recorded these. I've already made them into videos, so the full videos of the full conversations will be able to be coming out, and I'll put them on a conversations with the model afflicted playlist or something, if you want to listen to all of it. So we listen to these bits.
Hold on, Dev.
What up?
How's your Friday?
Yeah, good day.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Have you do you know the people that want to shut off conversation? It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. I'll admit that some people don't want to have that conversation. Some people just want to naysay. I personally don't get it. Like, we're all here to, entertain each other's ideas at least. So I haven't been following the chat either. I'm at work, so.
Oh, you don't need to
I can
follow the
only-
chat here. It's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Flatsoid, he got rid of us. He doesn't want us commenting in his chat, asking him questions,
Oh,
how
really?
he manages to prove that the Earth's flat. STST, I can't fucking comment there. I can't even comment in the chat to let him know that I can't comment. You just get
You want me to let them know?
Well, you've got to be careful, right? Because your mods, they're the ones that do this silencing. You've got to be careful who your mods are,
Yeah.
because you'll never know, right? You could be getting rid of your viewership because your mods just get triggered. They don't want them people commenting.
Definitely. Yeah, no, you've got to be on top of that, and the YouTube mods are a little bit harder to, keep on top of that. It's all pretty much text-based.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. What we've got here is a situation where you get hidden on YouTube chats. So you can't comment on any videos. People just won't be able to see any of your comments that you do make. And that's happened on Flatsoid's videos. And now, whether it was Flatsoid himself or whether it was one of Flatsoid's mods that just doesn't want to deal with us. Either way, I can't comment on Flatsoid's videos. STST, don't know whether you've ever heard of him. he can thank Fight the Flat Earth for hiding me. So I can't comment on any of his videos. I can't even comment on his YouTube channel to let him know. So this is the only way I can. STST, I know you're not going to watch it, but if anybody does listen, there are people that do listen to us and comment on STST's channel, right? They loads of them do. Just have to tell him. I can't do anything. But I mean, perhaps, you know, it's better that we don't chat. Perhaps the free speech platforms, it's better if they don't allow free speech. Like, you can just keep it and pretend that they're going for free speech, whilst moderators or people like Fight the Flat Earth, he's got a channel of his own, Fight the Flat Earth. So it's hardly surprising that he doesn't want other people talking. Just on his channel, he'll just mute everybody else. Imagine how many other people Fight the Flat Earth is muted on STST's channel. What about that? Rachie is a mod on STST's channel, and Rachie is a mod on Fight the Flat Earth's channel. That's how it goes round here. So hopefully my mods don't end up doing that, banning people and blocking people. Because they know that we're after conversation. I would hope. They wouldn't just ban people, hide them. I wouldn't even know. Nobody ever comments or says anything. You can't. They can't talk anymore. So you just have to trust your mods. This is a conversation we're having with a guy in another Discord channel right now. This guy in this other Discord channel wants conversation. He wants people to converse. He wants people to go over there and have chats, same as we do here. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it isn't. We'll talk about that and how people misrepresent other people in a bit. Nathan Oakley's mods and Flatsoid's mods are the most fanatic I think I've seen ever. Right? I know Fight the Flat Earth has a way, then there's a lot of people in his chat that are pretty triggered. But, man, the most loyal are Nathan Oakley's and Flatsoid's.
Yeah, I guess I've never attempted even to go over and, you know, interact with their YouTube chat.
Well, I always find, like, to see the greater picture, you've got to see what's going on, because Nathan Oakley obviously he can't talk, right? He can't go out anywhere and have a chat like, you know, most people can. I don't know why, but he can't. He can't even allow people to come in and have a chat. So he has these, like, protectors, people who sort of filter everybody out for him.
Yeah.
And they have an ability to control him, I think, as well. You know, with these people, who they allow in and who they don't.
He's got handlers.
Mm.
Yeah, I always find it weird when people like that, they're not able to, like, leave their safe space, you know?
Yeah, like B-Ball, what's up with him, man? Look at that. You know how big his folder is of stuff that I've done?
Yeah.
So can you see that, the picture? There's a picture that we went to replicate that was done. A gallery picture. There. And B-Ball's posted it. He's got a guy called Earth is Life. Supposedly a military guy. And in his spare time from the military, he goes on Discord channels posting pictures that my son's done. That Ranty's doctored. Can you imagine that? Proof that within this system there are military people actively putting out a false narrative. Military.
I would say not only military, but the second group I found it is very active here. They are just let's say computer programmers, or even involved in making games, computer games, or something like that.
Oh, like Mick West.
Many people,
Yeah.
and like Mark Sargent, for example.
Mm.
He's he describes himself as I remember, computer game designer, something like that.
Yeah, that's Mick West. Supposedly did Tony Hawk's, the skateboarding game.
Flat Earth Math also is
Yeah, statistics.
computer mathematics, and this Matthew learns or whatever also.
Foolish Decisions. He said he was a computer engineer. Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of stuff. Well, Earth is Life doing this sort of stuff. Like, this is the picture that Ranty did. I might go, like, yeah, I'll leave it. Let's see how this plays.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't
shouldn't-
say
Oh, sorry.
Shouldn't he be?
Go on. That wasn't you on the thing, was it?
Yes, I think so. This is
that
so
Emma?
good recording that I think that it is live, but it is recording, I think.
Was that Emma, or were you speaking then or not, Emma?
I'm busy
Look at
doing
that.
military
I thought that was Emma.
stuff.
That picture there, right, that he's got Thanks Bev on, that's my
Mhm.
lad. He should say, Thanks Bev's lad. Thanks Bev for driving his son to the place to replicate the picture that Ranty got given and stared at for 2,000 hours. Should say thanks for just replicating it, saying, yeah, there's nothing different there. I don't know whether you can see as well, right? This picture. Sorry, Emma, I thought that was you, but you must have been over there with us. See, Emma comes over to have a chat in these other streams. You don't ever see any of these guys come over here or anything just for a quick chat. But yeah, we go out and talk to people because that's what we do. Anyway, as you can see with these two pictures, this was the picture that turned Ranty, and I said it's just a normal picture. You always see the mountains. So we went down there to take a picture at the same time of day. Now you can see the shadows. This shadow here is same as this shadow here cast. Maybe it's a little bit earlier, but you can see the shadows being cast in the same direction. And you can see on this picture here, there's this bank, and this is a sand bank all the way along here. And you can see it's lit up because the sun's coming from this angle like this. Even on this one here, look, you can see the shadow. So the sun's coming from here. Sun's coming from here, and it lights all of this up here, but only in one picture. That's why we went to go and take this picture, to point out that this bit doesn't look right, whereas this bit is lit up here. Now, it's lit up even more than what this picture shows, because when Ranty got this picture, he darkened it. Ranty made this really dark. It's not like that. It's lit up. It's really bright. So Ranty was being dishonest when he messed about with this picture, but you can quite clearly see there's a lit up band here that isn't present in this picture, the one that Ranty didn't really do. He doesn't really know anything about it. Loads of people have been over this picture loads of times, and nobody has ever come and asked us exactly what we went there to take this picture for, what the picture shows, anything, where the picture was taken from. They don't care. It's a complete setup, false narrative by a group of people that don't want to talk about this. And now, not a lot of people know this because nobody's ever come and asked us. But we've talked about it. We all know about all of these sort of things in here. Talked about it loads of times. We can go down there, you know, any sort of time, take pictures. We can take pictures of the Blackpool stones. And we have. There's loads of actual pictures with proof. Elevations, all sorts of stuff. It's a good picture, isn't it?
Yeah,
After Ranty photoshopped it.
Innit?
Yeah. Because we went there, right, to show, particularly, that, see the way the shadows are on that, the mountains in the background, the sun's on them, right? So that's sunset, isn't it, on the mountains? You can see the sun's coming down over there, over the Isle of Man. It's just going down right now. And then there it is. And we went there to show how lit up Blackpool and Lytham St Anne's seafront is at that time of night. As you can see in the picture that Ranty's darkened. All of that's lit up because the sun's there.
Did you guys use the same camera?
No, he's got a different camera. But did you guys use the same camera? I mean, what a rebuttal.
How does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, literally. But that's genius rebuttal. Let's go again. I mean,
Well, that might add bright or color effects to it as well.
yeah. But we were just pointing out that the Blackpool in the picture has got a mist on it, so that's an early morning Blackpool, and the mountains and all of that in the background is a sunset. But everybody seemed to miss that. They wrote "Thanks, Bev" on it, and Ranty just fucked off. Never to be able to talk about it. It's really weird, isn't it? That sort of stuff happens.
Ranty was the flat earther, and this is the image that turned him globe.
Yeah, I think Katz gave it to him. It's just a picture off the internet. But it was taken from where we've filmed all of the Fata Morganas. And, you know, Ranty said, wow, look at that. It's a globe. And I went, no, that's what we see all the time, Ranty. You're meant to be an expert photographer. And yet it's just across the bay. You live in Blackpool. Like, how could he... He knew that all along. I don't know what sort of a play it was that he decided to do. But it wasn't because of that picture. Maybe he went mad or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a thing going around where people go crazy. Maybe he got a fair bit of money. Maybe his 5-year service was up.
Yeah, he got paid off. Or yeah, he's got a pension plan now.
Well, Sleeping Warrior did bring him and Katz in. And I suppose if they both got brought in at the same time, then Ranty got the bum end of the deal, right? Because he was the one being the flat earther, and Katz is the one that got to pretend to be a teacher. Didn't he?
Another one pretending
He got
to
all
be
the
a teacher.
adoration of the globe, whereas Ranty, he was the butt of all of the jokes. Until he switched, and then everything was fine. He was great. Everybody loved him. Dead weird.
Ranty got convinced by this because from the observation point of the distance, the top of Blackpool Tower cannot be where it is in relation to the mountains in the background when calculating perspective. It just can't.
When calculating perspective, that was Stingray. He's the great model maker of the globe, if anybody doesn't know. Shout out Stingray. There's a big conversation with Stingray, goes on about it all the time. And if you want to hear that, wait till this one comes out. We'll go back into that. Stingray, one of the top globe model makers. If you want to know who's been making the models, then he's your man. Right. I'm going to skip a bit. How much are we skipping? If you want to know. we're skipping about 45 minutes of a conversation with Stingray to meet up with, well, I'll let him introduce himself. Let me go to get this. What's this? Even when there's that extra elevation thing, much like the flat earthers.
You know, Bev, I've got a little bit of a question for you. I was on my mountain ridge and I set up my level.
It's got a mountain ridge. This is Larry, subject of tonight's show. Larry Scott, the man that told my son that triangles have more than 180 degrees. The last great globe surveyor. Let's hear him.
I looked straight across the valley and there was a radio antenna almost exactly at my horizontal. Does that mean it's the same elevation as me?
You set up your auto level?
Yes.
Or was it a bubble level?
Well, it's a manual indexing level, but there.
Okay, do you hear that?
Manual indexing, what
Yeah.
does it mean?
Oh, I don't know. Have you got a Google there handy? Has anyone got Google handy? Tool search, maybe. What's the best tool place? Maybe you can just Google it straight outright, right? This is what he listen again. He's going to tell you. This is Larry Scott, the last great globe surveyor. The last. It's like a white rhino.
Well, it's a manual indexing level.
Manual indexing level. Put it in there. Check it out. Everyone go. Manual indexing level. Google it. Tell me what you find. I'll just get it. Maybe you made a mistake. So while you're Googling it yourself, I'll just play it out.
But they're fundamentally the same thing. So yeah, auto level, manual indexing level.
Yeah, not
the
quite
Adelaide
an
90
auto level. Right, so the same thing. It's just like an auto level. You should see it underneath the auto level section. It should, like you put in manual indexing level, it should come up something the same as auto levels, right? No doubt that's what you're finding. Let's just make sure that's what he means. Right, and
well,
how far away was it? You were on top of a mountain? Because that's not usual, that, right, Larry? We normally say people like that for Ranty. Ranty does that sort of stuff.
No, that's quite normal. There's no problem. It's quite normal. I mean, the radio antenna was only 28 miles away.
It's quite normal with it. Like, it's not normal with an auto level. It's not normal to take an auto level to the top of a mountain. So, this is a manual indexing level. Like, it's like an auto level, except you can take it to the top of a mountain and look 28.5 miles away. You can't do that with an auto level. But something like an auto level, has anyone found it yet? Manual.
I am searching, but
Manual.
this is manual indexing versus automatic indexing, and I cannot find anything about level.
No.
It's about just indexing, the two types of indexing. One is manual and another is automatic. So far, I this is what I know about that, but nothing about level.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those things that Larry Scott, the guy that told my son that triangles have more than 180 degrees, is obviously the last great globe surveyor. So it might be hidden, right? It might be one of the secret tools of the globe surveying team. There's no Jesse Kozlowski. He can't confirm it. The guy who may or may not live in Maine that can't set up tools, we're not too sure about him. But I mean, he's not around anyway either. So there is only Larry left, and Larry's the one talking about things that we can't find. Like, it's almost as if the manual indexing level that's similar to an auto level doesn't exist. So Larry's been talking about this to a group of people, being the self-qualified expert on it. Apparently, maybe it's like a within the trade, right? It may have something else. It may be called something else, and Larry might be able to come back. But at the moment, it's a non-existent tool that Larry's took to the top of a mountain and look, 28.5 miles. So he's going to help us explain.
In Google search, it is not a tool.
No.
It is just what we do.
Yes.
With the things. Indexing, it is making index automatically or manually.
But it sounds smart, doesn't it? I mean, like,
yeah.
If you give the authority to Larry in the group of people that Larry's in, and you've given him that authority, then a manual indexing level might sound pretty fancy, right? It's
sophisticated.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely a sophisticated tool. Yes. But nobody else has ever said that. Nobody's ever questioned it, Larry. I mean, why would you ever want to question Larry Scott? The guy that told my son's got triangles of more than 180 degrees. I mean, obviously an expert. Just like that other guy that we've just been talking to, the professor that possibly, the one that asked us to Google to check whether he was a professor. We did, and we can't find that he is a professor. A bit like Larry, Googling shit that we can't find. Doesn't even exist on Google. Now, how often's that happen? How often is it that you can Google something and not find it? As though they've made it up.
I would say in this arena, it is normal.
We go over. Only 28 miles with an auto level on a mountain, Larry.
On my manual indexing level, yes, which is fundamentally the same function as an auto level.
Fundamentally the same function as an auto level. Yet we can't find it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And it was at my horizontal.
And what were you doing?
Does that mean it's the same? Does that mean it's the same elevation?
What were you measuring?
Does that mean it's the same elevation as me?
I haven't got it. No, I wouldn't say so. No, I wouldn't say you can't really perform elevation measurements with an auto level from 28 miles. But do you?
Well,
I never had to do any of that sort of stuff, Larry.
Okay.
So in my experience of surveying, 2 years when I was a lad, we never even dreamt. I couldn't even think of a reason why you'd want to take an auto level up a mountain. So like I say, I've never experienced this, never experienced the need to do it or the want or the sufficient reason, right? The one of the beginning things, the concepts is, for what purpose would you want to take an auto level up to the top of a mountain? Very strange. But this is Larry, the last great globe surveyor, Larry Scott.
Okay. Well, I do. So I then set up my theodolite and I measured the.
Measure that with the? No, wait a minute. I want to know about the manual auto indexing level. What did you measure?
I was going to say that. I was going to tell you that until you started talking on top of me. You'll have to give me a second.
Yeah, what is give
Jesus Christ. Never mind, Bev. Never fucking mind.
That's not me. They get all triggered and upset whenever you're talking to them, right? So Larry's being interrupted, and now I think that's the moderator, the guy that owns the server. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. Yeah. Go ahead and give Shudo a whole 45 seconds to try and get his thoughts out.
Yeah, I set up my auto level on this mountain ridge, and the radio antenna was almost exactly at the crosshair. So I set up my theodolite, and I measured the vertical angle to the radio antenna, and it was down just a little bit down, not even a quarter of a degree down. And the radio antenna is 400 feet higher in elevation. So how can a radio antenna that's 400 feet higher in elevation be slightly below my horizontal at 28 miles? Would you explain that, Bev, please?
I can't even explain why you went up a mountain to look at a radio tower with an auto level, Larry. So I haven't got a clue. You should really write it up or something. Put it to paper or something. I think. Yeah, I've always said that you are the last of the great globe surveyors, Larry. I don't think there's ever going to be any more people.
And the reason I went up on that mountain ridge to look at the radio antenna 28 miles away.
Okay, so I'm right. Tell him, no, I didn't mute him then or anything. Told him outright, and everybody else should know this too. There will never be another globe surveyor to take the place. Larry's the last one. Jetty Kozlowski's done a Jetty Kozlowski. The guy who probably didn't live in Maine has proved to us that he can't set his tools up. He's gone. There's only Larry. This is it. Make the most of it, guys. Needs to be wrote up.
Was to determine its elevation by vertical angle. And I was only in error by about 1.5 feet. After applying the 80 feet of refraction and over 300 feet of curvature, I happen to be almost exact, but that radio antenna was at my horizontal. So horizontal does not mean the same as a constant elevation.
300 feet of curvature. You call it a vertical angle because it's in a vertical plane.
Correct.
Are all of the verticals in that vertical plane perpendicular to the baseline?
No. Only at the instrument is
only at the instrument. Well, that would be at the apex of the angle. Only at the apex of the angle is vertical perpendicular to the baseline of the measurement.
vertical and horizontal perpendicular. As you head out any distance whatsoever, then perpendicular to my horizontal is not vertical at that location.
So the perpendicular relationship of horizontal and vertical wouldn't be maintained within your vertical plane that you're measuring the angle in.
Well, can you see the chat?
Which one? Open chat. I'm looking at it at the minute.
Okay. Stand by. And
we're all waiting for Larry now.
Yeah, this is what my measurements return. And the relationship of perpendicular to horizontal and vertical, as by my measurements.
Okay, so can you see that? Do you want me to blow it up? I don't know how much more I can. Let's see whether I can get it a bit bigger for you. There you go. Can you see that on the YouTube? Catch up.
I can see some.
There's green lines, black lines. Yeah. Can you see them? With some right angles with the black line, and then there's some green lines. It says horizontal.
Some rumpus poles.
There you go. Right, we've got the rhetoric. They don't have the rhetoric for this. And that's what we're going to go over now, right? Remember about Larry and his manual indexing level. Seems like he's made it up. Right? But he's made it up to be something like something that already exists, an auto level. Well, what we're about to talk about may exist, but in this picture. Let's have a guess. Tilt of the vertical. Equipotential angle of adjustment. It's there. You documented it.
I don't know what you made up equipotential angle of adjustment. So yes.
How could I make it up? Look, he's there in the picture. Equipotential angle of adjustment. This is one of those cases that I thank Raven for bringing us the trivium and the grammar, because the definition of it is the angle of adjustment of the orientation, right? It's the equipotential surface. Has to be adjusted for once you take on a dogmatic model. Larry's pictured it there. He's even marked the angles.
You did, because I can't find any reference to it other than your own.
You've labelled it there. It's the angle of the adjustment for the orientation of horizontal and vertical over distance. You've labelled it.
Okay, so we can clearly see that vertical lines are only perpendicular to a horizontal at the instrument. Vertical lines to all other locations on that horizontal are not perpendicular to that horizontal. I'm glad we agree. Welcome to the globe.
Right, yeah, tilt of vertical, equipotential angle of adjustment. We've done this all. I don't understand why you're arguing. Well done, Larry. Like there.
Okay, yeah,
so
you can see. Yeah, there you can.
I keep that on screen.
Yeah, so there
You
can clearly see.
Sign it.
There you.
I'm telling him. He should sign it. It's his globe. The equipotential angle of adjustment. We thought it was a joke, didn't he? You don't realise it's a real thing. And the only reference of it is the reference that we've got. You have to refer to us when you know about the equipotential angle of adjustment. What else are they going to call it? What else could you call it? You can't call it tilting verticals. That sounds fucking ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah, equipotential angle of adjustment sounds more, let's say, scientific.
Perfect, isn't it? It describes what it is. And, I mean, they love the equipotential. Everyone keeps talking about it. So, I mean, like, here it is. But Larry's the one that's done it. The last great globe surveyor has brought us the equipotential angle of adjustment.
There you can clearly see the arc of the constant elevation.
The deviance of the orientation from a point.
Welcome to the globe.
It's globe. Dogmatic globe. Oh yeah, tis globe.
No, the one I measured. The one I measured, dude.
Yeah.
Measurement.
You go down in the history books with this.
Oh no, I happen to agree with far too many people to go down in the history book as anything special.
I call that the rumpus pole, the unit of measurement between horizontal and level. I think that's what it is, isn't it?
No, well, we just call it vertical on the globe, just like the Ordnance Survey UK says.
I bet you went mad at Mick West when he dropped the like perpendicular from what he called the surface level. He called that horizontal a surface level and did a perpendicular from that. It's like, you know, he's got completely the opposite way around from you, hasn't he? I hope you put him
Yeah,
right.
so
He's still not sorted that, Larry. Why don't you?
Well, okay. I
gotta
just
fill
was
the gaps,
asking you.
right?
Okay. As this started out, I was just asking you if I put up my auto level and theodolite and see a radio tower quite nearly at my horizontal, and it's 400 feet higher, then how is horizontal level?
Do you get that question? Want to hear it again? I don't know whether I think he probably could have formulated it a little bit better, but listen.
I was just asking you if I put up my auto level and theodolite and see a radio tower quite nearly at my horizontal, and it's 400 feet higher, then how is horizontal level?
Higher than what?
Him.
Horizontal higher than him?
Yeah, the radio tower is higher than he is, but he's looking down at something that's higher. He's asking me. Like, I don't even know why he went up a mountain with an auto level in the first place. So, I can't explain anything. We're in fantasy land. I'm still amazed that these globe surveyors go up mountains with auto levels or manual indexing levels. He's checked the elevation, right? And he knows the height of the tower, and he knows the height of where he's at. So he does know the height of the elevations of both of those things. He's just looking at it and going, why is it not where I think it should be? But I mean, he does know the elevations of it, obviously. Globe surveyors, their methods are a little bit out there. But like I say, the only reference that we've got is Larry Scott, or Shoebill, as they call him. Shoebill, he's got his name there. How did you measure the 400 feet higher with the auto
By getting
level
right
from
next
28 foot away?
No, by getting right next to the tower and measuring the vertical angle to the tower. So I started with 1 mile away, and then I progressed to 28 miles away.
Okay. So how do you know that the elevation at that other distance? How did you measure that? The difference in elevation, or did you just measure the distance in the height of the tower from one location, and then look at it from 28 miles away?
I got the elevations from published documentation at the base of the tower.
So you got it from a map, published documentation. He just looked at it in a book and found the elevation of the tower.
So why you climbed into this mountain?
I can't explain it. That's why I think Larry should really write up his methods and all of that sort of stuff, because to me, this is fantastic. What a story. What a story indeed.
Determine the elevation of the tower. Then I went 28 miles away and repeated that exercise. And I got the same elevation both times for the tower.
Would that be the tower then at the distance, then at number 9?
No. This is a subset of the measurements, because that is not 28 miles.
All right. How far is that then? Oh, just a kilometer.
28 miles in kilometers. Okay. It's about.
No. I mean, in between those marks, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, those are 1 kilometer. Those are 1 kilometer.
Right. So, can anybody see that? And you see on the picture, he's got 1 kilometer mark. So there's only 9 kilometers shown here, and he's talking about 28 miles. So I don't know why he didn't divide it up into miles, but he's decided to go with kilometers. Maybe his thing. Wait, which one's the kilometer? The in between the black lines that along the horizontal, or along the one of 0 elevation?
Along the 0 elevation, yes.
Okay. Right, so he's put 1 kilometer there, And it looks like it's in between those black lines with the ones that are perpendicular to the horizontal where he's marked it. But that's not where he means 1 kilometre. It doesn't mean a kilometre like a straight distance like that along the horizontal. Obviously. He's talking about a different distance. You should have put that 1 kilometre down there at the bottom then, really. Shouldn't you, in between the green ones? It's a bit,
I wasn't.
hard to see.
I didn't create this as for you. I created it for myself, and I thought I'd share. Maybe I should have labeled it more, but I'm sure many other people in the chat could have read that and figured everything out.
4, 9 kilometers then.
And nine marks. That would be 1 kilometer per mark. Yeah, I should have labeled it.
And a tilt of what equipotential angle of 291 arc seconds, is it?
Yeah. So what you're calling equipotential angle of adjustment,
we just 6.3.
Yeah. So what you're calling equipotential angle of adjustment.
Do you hear that? He said, "Yep." The rumpus pole unit, 6.3 meters over 9 kilometers. If anybody wanted to know, the rumpus pole unit, Larry's marked it on here, 6.36 meters over 9 kilometers. The rumpus pole. He obviously has a equipotential angle of adjustment within that. Yeah, you've missed it, Paige. I mean, we are talking about Paige. You'll remember this one, sort of along the lines of Paige's proof, except Larry, being the last great globe surveyor, he's actually marked the equipotential angle of adjustment in. It can be used many different ways. The
adjustment, a completely Bev-only term,
no,
apparently.
Did George not ever call you that? He calls the surface the equipotential surface, right? So this is the angle. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So they know about the equipotential surface. So Larry knows about the equipotential surface. So the links to the equipotential angle of adjustment, it's there. We do thank George for that. God rest his soul. But it appears that George didn't bother explaining to these guys. This is why I think George enjoyed his time round here. He talked about these surveying methods, the way he calibrated his tools. George talked about all of that sort of stuff to us. And he doesn't seem to have talked to any of these guys about it. And I don't know why that is. It's almost as if they don't want to talk about it, but they've got that in their midst. They've got Larry Scott, the last great globe surveyor, and they're not taking advantage of him. Like Nathan Oakley's been asking for this sort of stuff. Jesse Kozlowski could have given him, obviously, because he measured it with Soundly, the radius. Right? Nathan Oakley's been asking for it. Jesse Kozlowski could go straight into Nathan Oakley and say, I've measured the radius of the Earth. I drove over a bridge. He could be doing that. Larry Scott could be saying, I use my manual indexing level at the top of a mountain. See you, Nathan, look. They don't know, right? I don't know why they don't just go straight to the flat earthers and say, look, guys, here it is. Of the adjustment. Like, you can see that the adjustment of the vertical is within that angle. That George taught us this. I thought, like, maybe it's the way that we put the words together, but like George formulated it. He explained it there. You perfectly drawn it. Exactly as George explained it. It's the adjustment angle of the orientation to equate for the equipotential surface.
Well, good, because the equipotential surface is the 39 60-mile radius of the Earth, and the curvature must be applied in all our measurements to get the proper elevations when using vertical angles. Welcome to the globe.
Everybody knows this globe, yeah? This globe has to be, right? How could it not be with all of that sort of stuff that Larry's talking about? It may sound a little bit technical to people, right? This sort of stuff. But, well, if you want the proofs that come with all of this sort of stuff, this is geometric proofs. The guy's talking about triangles not having 180 degrees, yet you've got here's Larry, the last great globe surveyor. Dogmatic globe surveyor. They should be honoured.
Everybody knows it's a globe. Thank you very much. That's all I had. That was my question.
Yeah, sign it and move that 1 kilometre thing there, because that's a bit confusing. You should be signing it, right? That should have Larry Scott on the bottom of it. And as long as he moves that kilometre thing over.
Just comes back to the point, 28 miles away, the radio tower is at my horizontal and 400 feet higher. That was my point.
Yeah. You should be praised much more. You're the only one that's managed to stick it out. Where did the others go? What happened? Jesse and Jeff, where did they go? Sorry to hear about George. Rest his soul. They don't want to talk about George either. It must be hard. Should be honouring him. Somebody saying that I'm trying to grift for money. Why do you have such bitter people here, Demon?
You know, I hand select individuals to be here, and it's based on how bitter they are. The more bitter, the faster I add them to the channel.
That's what he's after, bitter people. And it shows. It does show.
Yeah, and if you're
That's true.
utter fucking asshole like Sean G, for some reason you get mod rights as well.
That's true. There's like a big waiting line of all the bitter people trying to get in, but they still need to go through the vetting process.
Yeah.
The MMM Discord server. Yeah, that's me on the level.live. The equipotential angle of adjustment. EAOE.
Yeah. So, but it goes back to the point. It goes back to the point that if I extend a horizontal from one mountain ridge to the radio tower being 400 feet higher is still at my horizontal.
Keeps talking about it. Doesn't use an auto level. Manual indexing level. I thought, I was hoping that Ranty was going to go and do the challenge, and he never managed to do it. So in the end, I was the one that was proved true, I guess. Ranty wouldn't go up. I was hoping to get a statue of it. It could have started off, like 10th Man started that trend off where everybody was buying sextants. Well, if Ranty had gone up there, if you get on it, Larry, you might get like a big deal on getting auto levels sold, taking them up the mountains. If anybody's out there, right? It might be a new thing, right? Because George has used an auto level like Ranty should have done. Ranty couldn't take it, but George is out there, right? What you do is you get an auto level, you take it up a mountain, and you prove a globe, I think. Dogmatic globe proof. That's how you do it. I mean, you might need a manual indexing level because auto levels don't really work over that sort of distance. You'll have to get in touch with Larry Scott. But I think if Larry Scott thinks well, right, what he does is he gets a Larry Scott level, the manual indexing level, the Larry Scott version. and gets it up for sale, puts a few more quid on it, makes sure he gets the rights to it. And I reckon there'll be loads of people wanting to prove the dogmatic globe by taking these up top of mountains. Might even get people out with a bit of fresh air. Might be like, you know, like Pokemon when they all went out. They might be meeting people up on the top of the mountains. You can give each other a nod and a wink. You'd be like, definitely know who's going to be a dogmatic globe believer. Anybody that goes up a mountain with an auto level or anything like that, there's a chance that they're up there trying to prove the dogmatic globe. Give it a try yourself if you want to have a go. Larry Scott, goes by the name of Shoe Bill, hangs about in a few Discord servers. He's very selective about where he goes though, and he does have an entourage, as he should, of people, you know, like bouncers around him. Protectors.
Well, an auto level, the auto level was just to compare to the theodolite's 90 degree, and they agreed completely, but the tower was not precisely at that.
So he only needed an auto level now, but he had a manual indexing level, and he only needed it to check his theodolite for some reason. Like, now that's not a normal surveying thing either, so that might be dogmatic globe surveying methods. Again, Larry Scott should be bringing this out. There should be somebody out there wanting to get on with Larry, do a collab, go over the methods that Larry used to do this. It's dogmatic globe, proper surveying. Last great globe surveyor.
So I had to measure the angle, and then I determined the distance being 147,000 feet. And so, yeah, I did the calculation, and the elevation of the tower, I was able to measure that to within 1 foot. Or maybe foot and a half, maybe.
The already known elevation. Did you use
only
Euclidean
after
triangles?
only after applying curvature of the Earth. So, welcome to globe.
Did you use Euclidean triangles?
Yes, I did.
Trigonometry?
Yes, I did, because it's a vertical plane, so it is very simple math.
So I have to read out what Bev is claiming is what their thing of EAOA, the equipotential angle of adjustment.
Right, just before this guy auditions for reading the website, and we'll go over Larry Scott and his methods. Go back over that lesson. This is what Larry says. Triangles.
Yes, I did.
Trigonometry.
Yes, I did, because it's a vertical plane, so it is very simple math.
So he uses Euclidean triangles. Now, Euclidean triangles, this is funny, this. Euclidean triangles have 180 degrees. Imagine that. There's a proof that triangles have 180 degrees. And they're the triangles that Larry's using in a vertical plane. Seeing that we did have a chat where we were going over a thing about the guy who said that triangles don't have 180 degrees. Larry Scott's the guy that told my son that triangles don't have 180 degrees. But in his calculations for this thing, he used triangles with 180 degrees. Isn't that funny? May sound contradictory, but I think that's what we have to deal with.
Just a surprise.
Yeah.
So I have to read out what Bev.
See, this guy has to read it out. He has to audition. See how well he does, right?
Bev is claiming is what their thing of EAOA, the equipotential angle of adjustment.
Here we go. Go on. Yeah, go on.
Never measured, only reverse imagical measured from predetermined values generated by predictions from the great model making shadow giants of the past, present, and future. This uses the elusive calculated non-measurement are beyond imagination. Read to learn more. What?
Is that a quote from George? Is that a quote from George?
That's good. Do you think he did all right? I don't think he got the imagicalcia measured correct. But, I mean, that was not bad for a first try, was it? equipotential angle of adjustment. They don't like the definition. They can't think of a better one. Or other than Larry did it. But Larry, if Larry tells us what he did, right, then we can obviously write it up a little bit better.
Is that what George told you?
Obviously not.
Yeah. Well, there's blue marble as well. You don't disagree with it, do you?
Entirely.
That's word salad. That's word salad.
People
It
have
means
often
nothing.
said that, yeah. You can't really.
It
Like,
means
that a citation?
literally nothing.
I don't know.
Okay, is that a citation? Is that a citation from any source other than your own?
They can't understand it. They just, I'm guessing that they don't really get it, right? They're not progressed enough within their understanding. They've not moved on from Euclidean. They've still got their mind in Euclidean. And they'll never get it until they understand the equipotential angle of adjustment. Hopefully Larry will help us out.
It's not. I can tell you from looking at it. It's not
You've got the
cited.
angle there. It's in the picture.
It's not cited.
Well, I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Why don't you cite your sources?
Well, mainly because it wasn't there to be cited. But it is. It's sort of in Larry's picture. We can cite Larry's picture. The angle's quite plainly put there. We can also cite F.E. Dogma and his twin tangents, because that's another appearance of the equipotential angle of adjustment. So there are sources, but I mean, it's only Larry and F.E. Dogma. I don't really know. Right? But Larry's got the picture for us, right? Larry's definitely got that picture. And that is the explanation of the equipotential angle of adjustment. Now, if you can't find any cited source for it, then that must mean that I'm the person that named it.
Well,
it might never have had a name. Like the Rumpus pole, right? The separation of vertical and horizontal over distance. It goes along with the equipotential angle of adjustment.
Okay, I put up.
Here's the deal, Bev. Here's the deal. You didn't cite it. You literally just said you didn't cite it basically because you made it up.
Yeah, we did. Completely made it up. Equipotential angle of adjustment. There wasn't a name for it until we gave it the name. The equipotential angle of adjustment. We talked about it, right? Paige was there when Paige found her proof. Well, the equipotential angle of adjustment was staring us right in the face, right there. We needed to have conversations with people. We needed to have conversations with George to find about the equipotential surface. We then needed people like Larry to put the tilt of the vertical. Jesse Kozlowski wrote it down, a column, tilt of the vertical with an angle there. Put the two together. Equipotential angle of adjustment. It's a necessity on a globe model, a dogmatic globe model. Can't get away from it.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob.
Haven't heard anybody say the magic words yet.
I don't know.
Tool abuse. This is blatant tool abuse.
What tool?
Who takes auto levels? Who takes auto levels up a mountain?
Manual indexing level. If you can find one of those tools, then you can gladly abuse it.
No, we should not promote the abuse of tools.
It's a manual indexing level.
Yes, this is new tool for globe surveying.
Mm-hmm.
It's called manual indexing level.
Yeah. It's sort of like an auto level, but it's not an auto level because an auto level's obviously got the name auto level. This is a manual indexing level. Google it, Rob.
I'm on a test drive right now. I can't.
All right, sorry.
It's okay. But at least I can talk.
Yeah. Like there's another picture out here, right? It's got horizontal, and then it's got a line there. And then it's got another line, right? So there's an angle there. That's the equipotential angle of adjustment. Again, this little farty angle here, it's always a tiny angle.
Make sure you tell them that all their angles need straight lines too.
Obviously. You can't get the opposite side angle if you don't have straight lines to imagine. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah, there was no...
That's what you just said.
Yeah, it's not there. You can go and have a look. That's the only cited source of the equipotential angle of adjustment, other than Larry's picture. And Flat Earth Dogma has done a couple of things with... well, sorry, Blue Marble's done it as well. Zenith angles require the equipotential angle of adjustment. Yep. So the reciprocal zenith angles, FB Dogma's twin tangent conundrum, and Larry Scott's picture and Page's proof all require the equipotential angle of adjustment. Now, where that angle of adjustment occurs, whether it's just in your mind, whether it's over there in the distance, where you're not, doesn't really matter. You can imagine it anywhere you want. See, we have a thing, right? Do not talk, don't talk of the not that. Well, the equipotential angle of adjustment is a completely dogmatic thing that people should know about. It's a thing. These guys are talking about it all day. I should be telling flat earthers, right? Because this is the dogmatic globe proof. It's right there. Right there.
Not
You
once
made
I ever
up-
use that
You
term.
made up a term. Yep, you made up a term. You didn't provide a citation for that term that you made up.
What do you call
and
it?
now it's so vague. Hang
What do
on.
you call it, Larry?
Now it's so.
Hold on,
and
Dad. Hold on, you gotta let him finish.
now it's such a vague term with word salad for a definition that you can apply it to literally anything.
You don't apply it to literally anything, but I mean, like most people that don't understand things say that sounds like word salad, but you definitely know about the equipotential angle of adjustment. Come talk to us about the globe. I mean, we have the rhetoric to be able to explain all of this sort of stuff. Larry Scott, obviously, he's got the ability to do it as well.
So your claims
Not
that
applying it to
it
anything.
applies to something that so your claims that it applies to what Shoebill has posted
The angle
and what
of
Blue Marble has
adjustment
posted
of an
are just
orientation
Hold on,
over
Bev. You gotta let him finish.
distance.
Give him. Hold on, Bev. Give him another 20 seconds. Let him get the whole thought out.
yeah, your claims now that this random word salad that you've made up, that you have admitted that you made up, apply to Shoebill and apply to Blue Marble and their observations and their measurements is just a claim with zero evidence and is therefore dismissed.
No, it's the
because you
tilt
have
of the
no reason.
vertical. Dude, it's there in picture form. You can't call it the tilt of a vertical, though, can you? Because that's fucking ridiculous. So,
Unscientific.
yeah, nobody would be able to take that on. You've got to, put it in globe terms. Globe it up a bit. Surely you should know what that means by now. The angular adjustment or the orientation over distance.
Never measured, only reversed and magical measured from predetermined values generated by predictions from great model making shadow giants of the past,
That's
present,
Larry.
and
Did he
future.
measure it?
Yes, I did measure it.
Oh, look, Larry Scott, the last great globe surveyor, actually measured the equipotential angle of adjustment. the tilt of the vertical. He measured it. Nathan Oakley, get on it, man. Stop asking for it. Larry's there.
Like Jesse Kozłowski measured radius.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Tilt of the vertical. There you go. So we
No
can get a cited
presupposition.
source. Larry has confirmed a measurement of the equipotential angle of adjustment, the tilt of a vertical.
No, okay. Oh, let's just rename that to the central angle at the center of the Earth to sea level.
A central angle. He's moved it. Right?
Yeah.
Moved
Central
it to the center.
angle to the center
monad.
of the Earth.
Yeah,
Okay.
monadic measurements with Larry Scott.
Plus, your definition says that it can't be measured. So if you're claiming that it's measured, then you've already proven your own definition
Larry's
wrong.
just called it the central angle. Did you measure the central angle, Larry?
Yes, I did.
Nice. Yeah, so see, confirmed once again. Larry's been to the center to measure the angle from the center. Been there. See, Larry should be signing this stuff. These people don't know what they've got. Larry Scott. Oof.
And I put up an additional graphic to further explain, highlight what I was explaining about the difference between horizontal and a constant elevation. I had to look down to a tower that was higher than me.
He had to look down to a tower that was higher than him. I mean, if that isn't a proof of then, like, I don't know what is. You should use it. Hey, everybody, get that on a t-shirt. Larry Scott special range. I had to look down at a tower that was higher than me. Yeah, so you directly measured the equipotential angle of adjustment.
I don't use that term because I've never heard that term outside of your invention.
Yeah, you watch it. It'll catch on.
No, I doubt
you're
it.
wrong.
I doubt it. I go with the Ordnance Survey UK for technical things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
I go with horizontal and vertical being perpendicular.
Bev, your definition says that it can't be measured, and you've made several claims now that it has been measured. So which is it? Is it measured or is it
not say
incapable of being
magicalculus
measured?
No,
Yeah, so that would be not a direct measurement because based on the word that you made up.
Magicalculus measured.
Because based on the word that you made up.
See, if it says magicalculus measured, right? That it's got measured in the thing. How can it not be measured if it's magicalculus measured? I don't think this guy understands what he's talking about here.
Yes, he doesn't understand that there is another method of measuring, not direct.
Yeah.
It is just not measurement, but...
Yeah, it's like a monadic type of measurement, isn't it?
Yeah, another type of measuring. And we don't understand it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It is not an actual measurement.
Magicalculus measured as well, but it's still measured if you magicalculus measure it, isn't it?
Sure. So great, but you are both claiming that it cannot be measured and that Shoebill measured it. So which is it?
Well, Larry's the one that's claiming that he's measured it. I just seen a picture.
No,
that
Larry does not accept that term that you've given him.
What, the last, like the white rhino with the globe surveyors?
Larry does not accept that term that you've given him. As a surveyor, he's never heard that term before. So unless you give him a citation that is not from you of that word, then he's not going to accept it.
He thinks equipotential angle of adjustment is a word. Larry's just not going to accept it. In fact, it sounds like this guy's a minder of Larry, right? Larry is the last great globe surveyor. So this guy, he's just checking, making sure that Larry doesn't get infected by some terms that he doesn't know. He's only looking out for him, right?
Yeah, you made it up. You made it up because I can find no reference to that EAOA.
There is no measure of tilt of a vertical. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, so you could have a look. See what you can find for any other reference of tilting verticals. Check it out. See if you can find anything. The only thing you'll ever find is the equipotential angle of adjustment. Yeah, we did. We got that. Thank you, Larry. And thank you, George. That's George Nutsack. God rest his soul. He helped us find the words. There was no words until we placed them together to explain this. Don't talk of the not that. Well, this is just a way to use the rhetoric of the dogmatic globe. And there was no other meaning because it's not actually there. We're just using this as for rhetoric to be able to explain the dogmatic globe model.
No, I did measure the tilt of the vertical.
So that's the equipotential angle. You hear that? Listen to Larry.
No, I did measure the tilt of the vertical.
Yeah, he did measure the tilt of the vertical. So he knows it as the tilt of the vertical.
He went to the center of the earth. Yes.
He measured the tilt of the vertical, but that may sound fucking ridiculous to anybody else. So I think Larry Scott should. I know we did make it up, right? And George helped us. And, and I know what they think of us and all of that. But, does the equipotential angle of adjustment sound better than the tilt of the vertical?
It does.
Yeah. So I think they should take it on. Because, like we say, he measured the tilt of the vertical. It would sound much better if you was to go around saying, you could proudly admit, right? I measured the equipotential angle of adjustment. That sounds noble, right? That's something that the great globe surveyor should say. He'll just get laughed at if he says that he measured the tilt of the vertical, I think. But hey, who knows? It is 2023. And these are the... this is how you learn the rhetoric from these guys. These are Larry is the white rhino. The last one. There'll never be another one. There's no new breed of globe surveyors coming. They don't exist. Who would want to step their foot into this little arena? Who would be there to go up against Nathan Oakley? There's none, is there? He couldn't face him. So that's the equipotential angle of adjustment then. Because there's no other reference because you don't tilt verticals. There's no such thing.
Then, right. Okay. And how does that relate to your water level?
Water level is a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference. Where would the horizontal plane fit in your picture?
How do 2 points form a plane, Bev?
Oh, a horizontal plane. That's Blue Marble coming in. Do you hear that? Bev. Do you want to hear it again? He's good at these little sound clips.
How do 2 points form a plane, Bev?
That's good, that, isn't it? He doesn't know how he's an engineer. And Blue Marble Science can't work out how to make a plane. Oh, a horizontal plane of reference, a water level.
How do 2 points form that plane?
well, you can. Have you never? Are you an engineer, Blue?
Yes, I am. How many?
Yes.
How do you get a plane from
Yes,
2
I am.
points?
You can get a plane from 1 point, can't you?
Bev, 2 points do not define a plane.
But as far as elevation's concerned, 1 point would define the
Are
plane.
you claiming? Are you claiming that 2 points define a plane? Yes or no?
You just use 2 point, well, as well as the actual level, but in order to establish a 2 peg test. But with the water level, you just need the 2 points.
Those 2 points define what, Bev? A plane
horizontal
or a line?
plane of reference if it's a water level.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, what a rebuttal. I'll still say it. A water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. I mean, you must have heard me say that many times before. And Blue's just come up with a great rebuttal. He went, nah. Let's see whether he can build upon that great rebuttal.
Bev, please draw me a square using 2 dots.
Somebody else comes in to save him. Don't know why that is. I don't know who this is. Does anybody know who this is? Listen to this.
Mm-hmm. No.
No.
Bev, please draw me a square using 2 dots.
Wait, is that a non sequitur? Why a square?
Like that.
Like, what's that? Square's got 4 corners. It's a bit hard to draw it using 2 dots. But I mean, hey, these new mathematical challenges come from all over the place. He might have seen that on the internet or something. Or maybe one of these impossible tasks that you just hand out. Give people something impossible to do. Like a rite of initiation. Like a, I don't know. What?
And you can connect those dots.
Please
draw me a square
water levels do not draw squares.
What you're saying is with 2 points you could draw a square on a piece of paper.
I say is that what I said? Did anybody else hear me say that?
No, but still, for example, for me it is obvious that you can just move one of the ends of water level to other place, and then you can have plane.
Yeah, it's like
You
wherever.
have 3 points.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I don't know. Yeah, I like this one though, right? I like this. So what you're saying is something that you never said, right? Something that you never even implied. A genius. Like, you must have heard these tactics, right? Whenever you're out there chatting to people.
What you're saying is with 2 points you could draw a square on a piece of paper.
I say with a water level you can establish a plane of reference. A horizontal plane of reference. That's what I'm saying.
I say you can't take 2 points and define a plane with only 2 points, Bill.
Okay.
You need a third point.
To agree with what he's saying, a water level describes a 3-vector system, which is more than 2 points.
Well,
so he debunks himself.
You can move one of the points, right? Wherever you want, can't you?
Bev,
now you don't have 2 points.
Bev,
now
a level.
You have 2 points. You have one at each end of a water level.
You just said you can move one.
Yeah,
now you've got a third point.
Like, by moving.
Yeah.
Like, do you necessarily make another point? You've still only got 2 points, right? One at each end of the water level. You've just moved it.
Yeah, but if you moved one of the ends, it means that you have new location. So you have 3 locations already.
Yeah, well, you can have infinite.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
but
like
still...
you still only got 1 water level with 2 points, one at each end. Like, you don't make more points. You've still got a tool that will give you a horizontal plane of reference wherever you put the ends.
Yeah,
it matters not. And
they
I don't
will
know.
be.
Like, Blue's pretending to be a retired engineer, and he doesn't seem to understand about a horizontal plane of reference. But
Yes,
that's who we're dealing with. These are the geniuses.
I am not surveyor, but I can understand that you can establish horizontal plane using only 2 points with water level.
Yeah.
For me, it is very simple, but for them, it is not.
Well, it's like a Euclidean logic in the way that a conclusion would then draw other conclusions as a lemma, right? You could be able to build upon things. And I think that's the idea of Euclidean logic, right? You can use something that you know to build upon as a sure footing, right? Blue doesn't seem to be able to make that link. I think what he's done is he's read somewhere in a mathematical manual that you need 3 points to establish a plane. Mathematically. Unaware that in some coordinate reference systems, you only need 1 point. He might get there. No, it's the same point. He's just moving it to establish a horizontal plane of reference.
Oh, so you can move it and it's still the same point. Really?
The water level, yeah. It's got
Really
two ends, Blue. The
Yeah, I
water
know
level.
it does.
Yeah.
I know it does. And you set your
you
water
can
level,
move them
water
around
level up.
and
You
establish
set
a
your water
horizontal
level up.
plane.
You connect the two ends of the water level. What does that form? Does that form a line or a plane?
This is like a straight line with a 90-degree angle a couple of years ago.
So the way to think about this is if you have a sphere, if you have 2 spheres in your hands, yeah, which are
right. This guy, right? This is what happens all the time. This is great. Some guy's coming in to say the way for you to think about this water level, establishing a horizontal plane, right? Tell me if this sounds a little bit model afflicted. I'll go back.
So the way to think about this is if you have a sphere, if you have 2 spheres in your hands, yeah, which are
2 spheres in your hands. Gone from a water level to holding balls. 2 balls in your hands.
Formless. They have no detail.
Formless. 2 formless spheres. Can I just check that with you in a minute, Paper? Is a sphere a form?
Yeah, form, it is a shape.
Right, so what's a formless sphere?
It
A
cannot
nonsense?
exist.
Would
Yes.
that be a nonsense?
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Okay.
You cannot even say that this is oxymoron because oxymoron, both parts of oxymoron have sense, but only connection or yes, if you connect wrong adjective to wrong noun, it creates oxymoron, but this one is just nonsense. It's like saying shapeless shape.
Oxyformonic. Nice one, that's good.
I have no name for
Yeah,
that.
if you can just imagine yourself holding 2 formless spheres, right? That might put you in the right place for understanding exactly where this guy's mind is, right? That's this guy. This is the way he wants you to think about it, right? I'll take it back again. He's just put it in. I don't even know who it is. Blue Marble's saying something about a horizontal plane and a water level, and this guy feels he has to jump in to help out, and this is how he helps out.
So the way to think about this is if you have a sphere, if you have 2 spheres in your hands, yeah, which are formless, they have no detail on them, right? And you hold
Formless.
Formless.
No detail.
Yeah.
What's the detail of the sphere? Sphere with the details.
Oh, genius. Go on, let him go.
them. You have nothing to describe where this plane is.
Without form.
Reference.
Got nothing to describe where this plane is. You're holding two formless spheres, and you can't relate that to a plane, strangely enough. I mean, talk about being in aporia, right? Like, what? Where did this come from?
Or maybe he just sniffed in some good stuff. I don't know.
That's some proper dogmatic globe shit, that, right? In that little bit. Do you want to hear it again? It's only this little bit, right? So listen to this and take this in.
So the way to think about this is if you have a sphere, if you have two spheres in your hands, yeah, which are formless, they have no detail on them, right? And you hold them, you have nothing to describe where this plane is.
Without form.
Reference.
Got no way to explain the plane. Two formless spheres. Fantastic.
Yeah, so if you've got think a tennis ball but with no detail on it. It's a super, just completely white cue ball, for example, yeah? You can have 2 points in your hands.
You can have 2 points in your hands. It's like it's a nothing, right? It's a not that. There's nothing there.
Yeah, point has no form. Yeah, I agree. But sphere is not a point.
Yeah. Stopping and starting, Aaron Armstrong. Oh, yeah, we got this from Flatside, going over videos like this. I'm sure, absolutely, Aaron. Aaron's Flatside's the model that we built all of this sort of stuff on. We want to be like Flatside.
But where is that plane? Is it tilted towards you, away from you, sideways? No, you need something on that ball to describe it. So if we draw dots on it at the horizontal vertical angle, so top bottom.
The horizontal vertical angle. Drawing dots on a formless sphere to describe a plane and the tilt of a plane.
Horizontal vertical angle?
Yeah. You want to hear it again? It's putting dots on it. There you go.
No, you need something on that ball to describe it. So if we draw dots on it at the horizontal vertical angle, so top bottom.
Yeah, see? You draw dots on it on the horizontal vertical angle.
This
on a formless
another
sphere.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
You cannot have one angle being horizontal and vertical at the same time.
The horizontal vertical angle? Don't tell me that these guys just talk absolute nonsense that nobody can ever question. If you do question it, you get called a bevtard or something like that. People who question the dogmatic globe narrative. It's fantastic. And these are the guys that lead in the community.
Left, right, forwards, backs. You then have something to orientate those balls. That's what your spirit level is doing. But that is using more than 3 points of description.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like Witsit to me. That's an overload of dogmatic globe information. I mean, how could you not take that in? He sounded so authoritative as well.
That's your problem, Bev, is you're using a spirit level and saying it's a single point. It's not. It's a description of rotation, yaw, and pitch.
Right. He just said you're using a spirit level. And I'm pretty sure when we started this, I don't know whether you can remember a little bit before, he just played his magic mind trick there of talking absolute nonsense. But we were talking about a water level. So let's see what's this. Listen to this, expert. I think we made it clear that we said water level. Right, not spirit level. We were saying water level.
What's the difference to you? They both work on water. A spirit level has water in it, genius.
Spirit, genius. Spirit level has water in it, genius, he says. That's good, isn't it?
What's the difference to you? They both work on water. A spirit level has water in it, genius.
Spirit, genius.
which
Yeah,
works the same as water level. It has a
Okay.
bubble in it surrounded by liquid.
It doesn't
It's
work
the same
the
thing.
same
Right,
as a
not throw
water
away.
level. Somebody tell Genius here.
Yeah, let's try to not use calling out names, because then it just devolves into a shit show.
So, how do we get to 2023 within this Earth shape argument? Us saying for 4 years now, level is a straight line on a horizontal plane, and showing them the Realising Euclid Tests with a water level. How do we get to this point where somebody doesn't know what a water level is? Like, what's going on? Guys, the guy's drawing points, the horizontal vertical angle on formless spheres. And he doesn't know what a water level is. Like, how did we get here? How are they so ignorant of just like basic tools? Practical. I don't know. No
matter how smart you both are, you're both fucking
I mean,
geniuses. Continue, please.
So stupid. It's liquid.
So
So who cares?
I think that him saying that we're both geniuses is overplaying it a bit. I wouldn't say either of us are geniuses. I mean, it doesn't take much of a genius to know that a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane. And don't know what sort of genius that guy is. I definitely don't understand it. It sounds like nonsense to me.
Yeah. So while I've been listening to whatever this is, I've also been trying to find.
So there's another guy coming in now, right? So that guy that just didn't know what a water level was, he's not going to have it explained to him what a water level is. He's still none the wiser. He doesn't know. Somebody else has just jumped in. Blue Marble to this guy talking nonsense, then some other guy. So, I mean, this is what it's like when you go out, talking to people. Well, for me anyway.
More sources for the equipotential angle of adjustment, and surprise, surprise, there aren't any. Everything just comes back to Bev's website, and that's really strange, Bev.
Okay. Brilliant marketing, do you not think? The only reference to the equipotential angle of adjustment is the on the level .live website. I thank you very much. We can explain it all. We've got the rhetoric. And I will be updating the website soon, obviously. Okay, so what do you find about the tilt of the vertical then?
What do I find? I wasn't looking up the tilt of the vertical, was I? I was looking up your term.
Okay. Yeah, the equipotential
that you claim
angle.
is
That's the
that you
tilt
claim
of the
is a term.
vertical. Yes, the amount of tilt of the orientation over distance. What do you find out about that anywhere? Because, I mean, we've only just started the study. Larry's the main man. He's the guy. So I challenge anybody, have a look it up. You'll find as much stuff about tilting verticals. In fact, you'll find less about tilting verticals than you will about the equipotential angle of adjustment. There's more wrote about the equipotential angle of adjustment than there is about tilting verticals, strangely enough.
Curvature.
I'm thankful to be able to talk to Larry. He's such, he's the man.
Yeah, but the term that you keep giving people is a term that you made up, which to everyone else on Earth is just confusing nonsense.
Yeah, I know, because nobody's ever heard of it before. No, it wasn't just me that made it up either. It's the entire On the Level Discord server. We work as a team. No one person could do all of this alone. You need a group of people. Equipotential angle of adjustment probably had something to do with Buster. Somehow. I don't know. It always seems to have Buster at placing words together. I just finish it off.
Yeah, and And calcium measured.
People aren't aware of the tilt of the vertical.
How do we use it? What's the utility of that? Okay.
She gets a what? Like, let's say that with one person. Is Watchmaker? You want to pass the torch yet, or did you have a final point you're trying to make?
No, go ahead.
Somebody's tapped.
Everyone is aware of the tilt of the vertical, and because it's the globe, and the radius of the Earth is easily measured and easily incorporated to determine elevations of distance points by a vertical angle measurement and the curvature correction of 8 inches miles squared as a plus and 1/10 of a mile, 1/10 of a foot per mile squared as a minus for refraction. Yes, time-honored science.
See? Larry Scott goes by the name of Shoe Bill now, but the last great globe surveyor. Nathan Oakley's been looking for him. He's been here all the time. Give him some credit.
Welcome to the globe.
Welcome to the globe. 'Tis globe. I think I was making a brew. Sorry, I'm just making me tea. 'Tis globe. There you go. Everyone. 'Tis globe. It's made a lot of silence.
Hey, Bev, you ever heard of concave Earth?
I was making me tea. And then there's a load of silence.
How valuable it is to use math to prescribe what the Earth is. It sounds pretty dumb.
See, you like using math? I don't know how much longer of this.
Well, did we win? Is it over?
Did we win? Was that a win-lose situation? I don't think so.
It has to be. It has to be. There's only enough room for one winner here, Bev.
Well, I think we all agree that the equipotential angle of adjustment, nobody else has named it, so we'll call it that. Yeah, but it has been measured by Larry, or claimed to be measured by Larry.
No, Larry never claimed that.
Yeah.
Don't gaslight people.
Well, Larry claimed to have measured the tilt of the vertical then, right? The adjustment
that's
of
not
the
what
orientation over
What do you mean with that?
distance.
That's not the term you made up.
Vertical.
What is that called for the thing that he's got the name for that you measured? What would you call it?
Well, I'd say that I'd use the rumpus pole, the distance measurement, the separation between level and horizontal.
I'm just curious because you agree that Larry measured it. I'm just wondering what Larry would call it. Yeah.
The RPU. Also, representation
I
of
would
the
just
angle
think
of
that,
adjustment, the equipotential angle of adjustment, just the opposite side angle. Right, you might hear, I've got a few conversations, right, and we do have the rhetoric. Obviously, most people don't understand what we're talking about. It's quite easy to understand once you get a grip on the equipotential angle of adjustment, because it's a multi-use functional angle. Like we say, magicalky measured. It's a product of a dogmatic model. You can't get away from it. It's got to be there. So they need the white rhinos like Larry Scott. But it takes a bit for your mind to shift into this thing. It's a place where you need to be helped into understanding exactly what's going on, because it sounds like nonsense, and quite frankly it is absolute nonsense. But I mean, that's the dogmatic globe. That's what you've got to get into. That's where the magic trick's already been performed. Can't get away from it. Like I've just told him there, the rumpus pole is the opposite side angle, which is also an opposite side angle to the equipotential angle of adjustment. Because if something happens of the tilt of the vertical, then there's also got to be a slope of the horizontal, which would be explained by flat earth dogma's twin tangent conundrum. When I say explained, you know, like you see into the mind of somebody holding formless spheres trying to describe a plane. That's where you need to put your mind in order to even comprehend this sort of stuff.
I would think that a term like tilt of the vertical would be some measure of deviation from your zenith.
Sounds ridiculous, though, doesn't it? No,
Yeah,
it's
that's
the tilt of the
that's
actual
that's why I asked.
orientation of vertical, isn't it? The equipotential angle.
In reference to what?
Over distance, so it's in reference to the original point.
Yeah, so reciprocal zenith angles, you can just say that, and not equipotential angle of adjustment.
You get a bit tricky there, because then the perpendicular at the other end isn't perpendicular to the horizontal.
Yeah, because we live in reality.
In relation to each other point, they're not perpendicular to the horizontal, and saying that vertical isn't perpendicular to horizontal sounds fucking mental. That's why we use these terms.
Perpendicular to the horizontal at that point, Biff. It is perpendicular at that point.
Yeah, which I was talking about earlier. The 2D surface that you imagine has all horizontal points, like you've just said. At that point, that's where the horizontal is. And every point on the two-dimensional surface of a mountain, let's say, would have that horizontal point. So I think we'll have to leave that bit there. It does go on. There's a lot of 2D, 3D thing, but you've got the idea there, right? We've talked to Larry Scott, the last great globe surveyor, about the equipotential angle of adjustment, and he's verified that he's measured it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to another part of another video where these will be coming out on the thing if you want to listen to them. That first one's about 3 hours long. Yeah, 3 hours. And then this one's about an hour. But we're going to miss the beginning bit of this one. Go to the bit, because it was a sort of an impromptu debate that they sort of hoodwinked or nobbled me into going over there for a conversation with Blue. But this is the conversation with Blue Marble Science that occurred sort of near the end of that particular conversation, right? Now, I don't know. I think this one should speak for itself. Following on from what we've just been talking about was the water level being a horizontal plane of reference. Don't ask me how we managed to do this. Well, actually, you might hear some familiar voices setting this up. So I've just finished a debate, or sort of an impromptu conversation with Rolling My Boulder. And I need to go because the missus wants me to do some hoovering or something. I don't know. Whatever it was, she wanted me to do something. So I had to sort of leave or get away. So this is...
Let's go ahead and open up the floor to questions. Does anyone have questions for the two?
I'll have to come back at some point, right? It was a very nice impromptu debate, but I do have other things
Before you do that,
Sunday morning.
Blue Marble just opened up his mic, and you said something about you came here because of Blue Marble. Blue Marble, are you here, hun? Were you about to say something? It looked like.
I don't have that much time. Like, I've got to do some stuff. Go on, Blue, if you want to have a quick. Stacey B. Introducing Blue. It's nice of her. Stacey B might be the next Rachie.
Well, I don't know that it can be quick with you, Bev, but you define Earth just as dirt, right? stuff we walk around on. You don't include oceans or any of that as part of the Earth, right?
No, rocks. I class rocks as being separate to Earth.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Rocks, dirt. That's Earth. And I totally agree with you. That is not flat. There are measured.
See? So, blue marble science and Bev try thinking agree, right, that it's not flat? Woohoo! We're on the, like, sort of, we're samesies. Might be a first way to have a bit of a friendship going here.
There are measured elevation changes, aren't they, Biff?
Measured elevation. Right? Absolutely. Yes.
And elevation, would you tell me again what elevation is?
It's measured on the vertical datum, Blue. Measured change on the vertical datum.
I totally agree with that too. That's exactly what it is. So
exactly what it is. So me and Blue, right? Blue's just told me exactly what it was. He asked me what the definition was for elevation, and I gave it to him, and he said that's exactly what it is.
So elevations are measured above or below some datum, right?
Yep.
We pick a point and say, that is our datum. Let's pick one. How
One
about
end
sea
of
level?
A water level. You like that? Pick a datum. One end of a water level. Woo! How good's that? On the spot. Quick thinking.
Okay, one end of a water level. All right. So the water level's got another end to it too, right?
Absolutely.
And we can draw a straight line between those two ends, can we not?
Absolutely. Of course you can, yes. Shortest distance between those 2 points.
So let me ask you the next question then. If we leave one end of the water level fixed and we move the other end of it, let's say twice as far away from us as it is currently, will those 3 points still form a straight line?
Yes, a horizontal plane. The water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. Yes.
So you contend that level is a straight line?
Yes. 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 Right? I mean, you notice I'm answering Blue's questions directly, giving him all of the correct definitions.
Yes, clear answers.
Yeah.
Therefore, we contend that to say that, you have to be saying the Earth is flat. Elevation is
not
flat.
He just agreed with me that the Earth's not flat. And then he said about a horizontal line between the water level. And I agreed with him and went through all of that. And he said that means that the Earth's flat. It's like, how deluded is he? The tool that you use to measure elevation changes that prove the Earth isn't flat is the thing that he says contends that it is flat. How, is he all right?
Not possible. This is just contradictory.
Sounds a little bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Elevation is flat.
No, you sound like Nathan Oakley.
You're saying that elevation is flat,
I'm
Bill.
not saying elevation's
Yes,
flat.
you are.
I'm saying elevation
Well, you just did.
Makes it not flat. It was my argument at the beginning. We did go over an argument with somebody at the beginning. But how can you agree that elevation changes prove it's not flat and then say that elevation is flat? I mean, does that sound like Nathan Oakley? Measured flat,
yes,
does he?
Yes. Exactly the same, I would say.
He's basically parroting what Nathan Oakley says to us when we say that's not flat. It's sort of strange what happens with this model affliction and who's on what side. It's very strange.
I said you're saying you're agreeing that two ends of a water level will be at the same elevation, are you not?
Distance between those 2 points.
No, answer the question. The two ends of the water level will be at the same elevation. Is that true or not?
Yes, Blue.
And you also agreed that if we put a third point in there from that same water level, move it to a different distance, that all three of the points would form a straight line.
Yes.
You're saying that level is flat.
No, I'm saying level is horizontal.
And horizontal doesn't come into it.
Yeah. Here we go again, right? Horizontal doesn't come into it, he says.
It does. It does.
Yeah, why does he want to get rid of horizontal out of the conversation? Really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I was surprised he went there. It felt like he sort of backed himself into a corner. I thought it was unusual. He's laying out that whole image. It felt like he was just trying to get you in a gotcha moment. So now you're a flat earther. You're saying the earth is flat. He just wanted to somehow come to that conclusion and try and nail you to that,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
strange.
Unusual.
People want to label me for something that we've already agreed that it's not flat. That's strange. But I mean,
yeah,
go on.
He wants level. He wants to connect level with Earth, which is not connected, but he doesn't want to connect with horizontal, which is obvious. That level is horizontal, but both of them have nothing to do with the Earth. That's their problem. I think.
Yeah, watch what happens right now, because now you're going to find out that he's sort of been shown a contradiction that he holds. He does. And when you put people in this position, often develops into they're within aporia, right? They're the bridge of asses. It's how you choose to maneuver your mind when you find yourself in these positions. This is brilliant.
And horizontal doesn't come into it.
Yeah,
we're only talking about elevation.
No, there's no
we're talking about level, not horizontal. We're just talking about elevation.
A horizontal has no slope to it, does it, Blue?
Hey, we're not talking about slope either, Bill.
Okay.
You can obfuscate all you want
elevation
to, but
change,
it's not going
right?
to work.
Would you consider
There
something with an elevation change as having a slope?
Something with an elevation change would have a slope, yes. Okay. But we're not talking about
so
anything with an elevation
don't have an elevation change, do they?
We're not talking about anything with an elevation change. We're talking about a water level. We're talking about level.
A horizontal.
No.
Yes.
It doesn't.
So sorry, but he admits. He says that water level has nothing to do with elevation change, and horizontal also. That means that they are the same.
Simple. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, but I mean, the reason he doesn't want to talk about horizontal is because of this sort of state he's in at the minute. Because being, having to speak your contradictions out loud is not cathartic at all. Like, the brain wants to fight against it. Right? Because although you can have these thoughts, right, the actual verbalization of them, the brain fights against it. And that's where Blue Marble is. Like the dogmatic globe, right, has to be a certain way. And because of what may seem like arguments at the minute, right, or simple statements, oh, you've been doing this for years. Well, it's not. It's much more than that. This is advanced simplicity. And it's not necessarily the argument, right? It's more the dance of a mind trying to not say something, but a battle, right? You want them to say it. They really want to say it, but they don't know how to find the rhetoric to say it because it sounds like nonsense. When you say it and verbalize it, it sounds ridiculous.
But still, in order, even if he's trying to defend his model and he is in aporia, but he still admits that level is horizontal because he had to.
He's gonna have to take it back though, right? You know, like if they've hinted at it, they've got to take it back forcefully, right? He's in a battle with himself now. I'll just put it back in a little bit because I think I'll cut this. This bit and the other bit together because they do sort of work hand in hand. The equipotential angle of adjustment and this state that blue gets in now with horizontal.
We're not talking about anything with an elevation change. We're talking about a water level. We're talking about level.
It's a horizontal.
No, it doesn't.
Well, horizontals don't slope.
It simply doesn't.
No.
It simply doesn't establish a horizontal.
There's no elevation change to a horizontal, is there?
Absolutely, there is.
So there is. Absolutely, there is. Do you want to hear that again? He's even got a little bit of a whistle there. We've got anybody, one of the voice people. I might put this on the soundboard. What do you reckon? Votes for this going on the soundboard tomorrow? To a horizontal, is there?
Absolutely, there is.
Oh, so there isn't? No. You like that? That's gotta be. It's better than a okay, whatever. We not got anybody with the thingies on? We need to have somebody on the soundboard. I'll sort it.
Okay. Whatever. So, whatever. Absolutely, there is.
Thank you, recording software. Thank you for the people who helped me out with the donations to get the PC working. And thank you to Discord. Come on in. Come on in. We have such a good time here. Oh, so there isn't? No. If there's an elevation change, there's a slope. Horizontals don't slope, so therefore
I don't want to get into
no elevation change for a horizontal blue.
Bill?
You like that? It was an impromptu bit of logic about a horizontal and a thingy. I left the whistle. I had thought probably there.
Absolutely, there is.
Oh, so there isn't? No. If there's an elevation change, there's a slope. Horizontals don't slope, so therefore
I don't want to get into
no elevation change for a horizontal blue.
Bev, you can try to pull this horizontal crap on me all you want to. We're not going to go there. We're only talking about level.
Horizontal crap. That's what Blue Marble calls it.
And he doesn't want to admit that in his mind, level is curved, therefore it is sloping constantly. So, but he cannot say that.
He can. He has to. He's asked to because he sort of hinted at level being horizontal earlier. So, there we go. It's not a magic trick.
Don't have anything to do with horizontal. Stop over talking me, Biff, please. We're not going to talk about horizontals. We're only talking about level, elevation. That's all. You are maintaining that level is a flat line, a straight line.
A level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
A level is a tool for establishing 2 points of equal elevation, Bev.
An auto
Get
level.
the definition straight.
An auto level is a tool.
We're not talking about an auto level,
It's
Bev.
a level. Blue.
Bev,
level.
No, we're not talking about
horizontal.
An auto level.
Well, water
we're talking
level
about a water
level.
Bev.
Level.
Now you want to bring auto levels into it. We're not talking about
No,
auto
it's the
levels.
level
We're not
part,
talking about
Blue.
horizontal
We're
planes.
talking about. I don't
We're talking
understand what
about
you're talking
elevations.
See, we're not talking about elevations, but a level is a tool that we use in order to measure elevation changes, reference to a horizontal plane of reference. So the level is the tool that establishes the horizontal plane for you to be able to measure elevation changes from.
Yes, and by the way, if we have auto level and water level, the question is if they are establishing different horizontal planes or parallel to each other. I would say that they establish the same. So why he's talking about points of equal elevation? Because it doesn't matter. In fact, if auto level and water level do the same thing, it means that, and we know that auto level is establishing horizontal plane, so water level is also doing the same thing. So why he's saying that it does not establish horizontal plane? Because in that case, that would mean that water level is doing something else than auto level, which is for me just silly.
Yeah. Don't forget about when Blue went over the bridge that Jesse Kozlowski did his globe surveying, driving a car over it. So,
horizontal chord line tangent plane.
Yeah, the horizontal chord line tangent plane. That was Blue Marble science. But don't talk about the horizontal. We had a word that when we were going round to the politics server, right? We were talking to, well, the top guys over there. It's a guy called F.E. Jedi, right? He's been putting out there that we shouldn't talk about horizontal, right? Keep it in the back rooms. A bit like Blue Marble's doing here. A bit like Nathan Oakley wants to do. So the flat earthers, it seems like the flat earthers and the dogmatic globe earthers, they both want the same thing. They want to dismiss what seems to be a very simple argument about horizontals, but it leaves people in this apooric state where they seem lost, filled with confusion. Listen to this.
Hold on a second. Bev, go ahead and you get 15 seconds. I'm going to count now.
I'm going to be going in a bit.
Point out. Yeah.
Blue, a water level is a tool that uses water to establish level. That level is a horizontal plane of reference with no slope, with no points being neither higher nor lower. And that's what a horizontal plane is also. No points, neither higher nor lower. There is no elevation change for a horizontal. That's what makes it level. Simple as that, Blue.
Go ahead, Blue.
You can test that.
Yeah, we have. A water level, Bev, is a tool for establishing 2 points of equal elevation. Horizontal is defined as perpendicular to vertical or perpendicular, if you want to think of it that way, perpendicular to plumb. Level departs from horizontal over distance.
Wait, so he's just said that horizontal is perpendicular to plumb, and
Yes,
level
and
is
level,
different somehow.
yes, but that's
Sounds fucking ridiculous, doesn't it?
yes, because we know that level is perpendicular to plumb.
Yeah.
So it is just nonsense what he said.
Yeah, and he's definitely in aporia now. Like he can't now. I bet his brain's going. You just said what? Like you obviously realise that's a contradiction, right? He's literally just spoken a blatant contradiction in him summing this up. Wonder what happens to the mind when that happens.
It curves down and away from that point, that horizontal line, which is tangent to some elevation.
Let's sorry, I was gonna say
Tangent to some elevation.
Yes,
That's very mathematical terms he's using there, isn't he?
if we go wrap your point up, Blue, and then I wanted to get a quick question in from the crowd here, if we could.
To help him.
Yeah, well, it's just that Bev wants to try to confuse the argument here by bringing in horizontal, and we're not talking about horizontal. We're only talking about level, elevation.
He wants to wipe horizontal, right? He can't deal with it. That's pretty bad, right? Something in his mind says, if you get rid of horizontal, you'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
Yes, but he's talking about elevation. Level has nothing to do with elevation because you can establish this level on any elevation. So it doesn't matter what elevation. He's talking about elevation. I don't know why.
Well,
a single elevation. And that's what a water level establishes. 2 points of equal elevation. And his contention is that a third point on that water level would line a straight line between the two endpoints, and that is simply provably not true. Level is not straight. It will not form a straight line. It is a curved surface. And that's the end of that.
Level is
All right. Somebody had a question.
And that's the end of that. Blue has spoken. I don't think
he's mistaken because level is not surface.
Yeah.
Here from the crowd. Was it Blatek or somebody else? Honestly, somebody else got a question for either of the two moderators. Yeah, we'll make it real quick for Bev because he's trying to get out of here and we want to wrap this
I
up.
think it was dogs, wasn't it?
Might have been Dogs. Is he muted?
Yeah, no, cool. I've got a question. So, Bev, my question is, if I could give you a modus tollens that worked in the same way as the one.
This is I don't know what to call this, right? So Blue's just done the horizontal thing and they want to just get away from it. Blue's spoken that that's the end of it, but check this out, right? And tell me what's going on. This is just a random fielding questions after I've told them I've got to go, right? And listen to this. I thought this was amazing.
Yeah, no, cool. I've got a question. So, Bev, my question is, if I could give you a modus tollens that worked in the same way as the one that you gave for the Earth not being flat, would you accept all of these conspiracy theories that were listed by Rolling the Boulder are also not true?
Right, you've just given an argument, right? And he said, if he were to give you another argument like that, would you accept something?
Yeah, so the answer should be, I don't know, because he didn't present any argument yet.
Yeah. So Here we go again. Like, call this sophistry, but I'm not so sure they're aware of it, right? This is sort of ignorant sophistry, I would call it. Like, hoping. I don't know. No, because like a modus tollens is an argument negating something. I don't think you can accept a load of non sequiturs due to a modus tollens.
What I'm saying is that, like, if you say the Earth isn't flat because there's no change in elevation as you describe it, then I could say I could construct something the same way so as to show that, say, the word we don't speak of the thing that we got in our arms works.
Do you get that? Right? He could construct an argument of the word that we don't speak of, the thing that we've got in our arms.
Okay, but he didn't express that yet.
Yeah.
So, what? This is like he needs you to make concession on unknown argument. This is just.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's got an argument in his head, right? He just doesn't have the rhetoric to be able to speak it. So he's just confirming that my reaction to it, were I to hear this argument that this guy hasn't really formulated the rhetoric for, or even any of the words, right? It's not really an argument, but I mean, he's hoping that sometime in the future he might be able to make an argument that might fit this bill. He's just not got there yet.
Yes, this is appealing to the future.
It's just checking my reaction to something.
Using the same logical structure, or that it doesn't kill people using the same logical structure. Would you accept that?
Well, a modus tollens is like a negation of a statement. So you start off with your
exactly,
right, and then that's what you negate. So you end up negating something. And a modus ponens is an affirmation of the statement in a slightly different way, right? But you're trying to link a load of non sequiturs to that. But you
I'm
can't
just
do that
asking if
with
you'll be consistent. I'm just asking if you'll be logically consistent if I was to create a logical argument in the same way that you did.
Well, every argument will be judged as the argument states, right? Yeah, I think that's all right. Because at first I was thinking about the form of the argument, but then it became a bit more obvious that he's searching for something that he hasn't actually got. He doesn't even know what he's looking for yet. Like, they're just starting a journey to understand logic, right? You can understand him grasping for, what's the use of it? Like, if I could, right? I mean, that's a logical statement to start off with, right? He's if I could make an argument, would you judge that argument like you have for other arguments? I mean, I think that's what he's trying to say, but he's trying to think that is an argument at the same time.
Not yet.
Well,
not quite yet.
Yeah, it's not quite an argument, but I mean, somewhere around there is sort of, I don't know, it's got a sniff of it, right? I think this is what happens, but people must be very, very careful. If you do have a model, watch out, because this logos might end up troubling you more than you're aware of. But it is 2023, so please be careful with formulating logic. Make it concise, clear, and make the argument should speak for itself. There shouldn't be
If
any
the structure
need
is
to
the same
explain
and I
the
can show there's validity to it, if the structure is the same and I can show there's validity to it, then that's all I need to do in order for you to accept it, because it's the exact same as your other argument. I've just changed some of the things in the premises, not changing the structure, and I just have to make sure that those things in the premise premises are sound.
Hey, Bev.
Right, so you got it, right? He's trying to
Yes,
work out what he has to be able to do in order to make an argument.
yes, but in modus tollens, you are not using this premises because two premises and conclusion are in syllogism, and modus
Yeah,
tollens
he doesn't understand the words, right? But what he's trying to say is that if he takes what I've said, changes some words, and keeps the structure of it the same, and keeps the validity of the statements the same, then he would have an argument.
Not yet, because you have to mind P's and Q's. So you cannot just replace your antecedent with something and your consequent with something, and we have modus tollens ready. No,
Yeah,
not yet.
but he's lacking substance for just about everything of the argument. All he's got, right, to go off is the arguments that we've presented. Right? There are arguments. It's new to these people, these logical arguments. And, you know, there's a long way to go to get to the minding your P's and Q's, because you actually have to make a statement first. Right? It's not good enough to just look at another argument and then imagine like you can change some words somewhere at some point in time and then you'd have an argument that was equally as valid, right?
Yes, then this is the same point I was trying to make with Baby, because he is avoiding a word truth. He wants argument to be sound. But in fact, this is there is a formal part of logic. So how you create modus tollens, modus ponens, or syllogism, this is formal logic. But other thing, this minding P's and Q's, is the material part of logic, and it is called material logic. So you have to have real things to operate on. So your P has to be real, and the consequence of this P also has to be real. And this is material part of logic. So you are seeking for true value of this conditional statement, not only formal.
Yeah,
so there are two parts. Yes,
they've
two
got a
parts
long
of
way to go, haven't they? But at least they're starting the journey.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the argument will speak for itself. Let's hear it.
Hey, Bev.
Yep. Another one. Yeah, so I say, I think the argument will speak for itself. Let's hear it. There's nothing there. There's no argument yet.
Does he mentioned me, but do you agree with that guy? Gods are dogs.
What if he can make an argument? Then that argument
he
will be
tried to make
judged as the argument is.
So
Yeah, so
what did you think? Oh, he's still trying to talk. I will bow down.
No, it's fine. Go ahead and finish your position there. And then we'll pass it up to somebody else if they have a question. Otherwise, we'll close it off. Go ahead, roll him a boulder.
Yeah, Bev, you and me both kind of got blindsided by this whole thing, right? Like, I thought we were coming here and we were just gonna kind of casually chat with Blue Marble, but you and me ended up debating. Now we've got.
I wouldn't call that
Gods are dogs. Yeah, it was a train wreck. It was a total train wreck. So, in summary, the Earth is not flat, right, Bev? Earth is not flat.
Absolutely, yes. And I
Okay,
think we can
and-
guarantee that neither of us were not flat earthers, right? If we can have an argument that states the Earth is
Yeah,
not
you're
flat,
not a flat. You're
you can't be
not a flat
earther,
earther.
can you?
You're a glober. I think.
Real glober.
Glober.
Yeah, a real glober.
Yeah.
And
I
and
can't have
not just a real
contradictions,
glober.
right? That's what I think.
You,
That's what distinguishes me.
I think
A zero contradiction, real globe earther. Tis globe. Everybody knows that.
think what actually distinguishes you is your belief in the Bible and how it supports the globe.
You'll have to listen to the full one for that, but that's just a blatant lie because we've just gone over it a little bit earlier. And they are just liars. All of these people. I don't know whether they're complete liars, very forgetful, or sort of some sort of a mental condition, or maybe old age. Who knows? But I would say definitely model afflicted, and the model affliction is getting worse because these people imagine things that aren't true.
Yes, there is no mention of the Bible here, so an argument about level being horizontal or Earth being not flat. But the Bible has nothing to do with that, at least here. So why he's making that statement? I don't understand that.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put those couple of bits together. I think Larry talking about the equipotential angle of adjustment is a good one. And, well, all sorts. Yeah, Mike, you'll just have to listen to it. The full thing, I'll put them out so people can, have a listen to conversations. I think as we've been chatting with people, like we've been going round, a few people come with us, like listen to it. It's like I don't know whether it's a live performance art, conversational talking, debate training, argument stress testing, whatever you want to call it. It's an experience. And if you want to come on the road trips with us, you'll have to be in the Discord to experience it. I will put them out on video though, just to show how dishonest the people are. Well, I say that there's a chance that they are mentally afflicted. Like this model has done that, or maybe the age they were, maybe boomers like we may be at a weird stage in time where certain people were affected in the early years, watching pictures on TV, the first of it. Maybe they were affected by it, in their childhood more severely than other people were. Who knows? But there's definitely some fun conversations been going on. That was us just talking to a couple of the Globe guys, but believe me, there's a few more conversations talking to the flat earthers as well. I would say if a false dichotomy can be proved, then if you're ever given only two choices and you can prove both of them false through modus tollens, then where does that put you? Put you at least another option that nobody's bothered telling you about. question is, why have they never bothered telling you about it? Why do they want to keep you trapped within a false dichotomy? Maybe if you don't see the third option, then that narrows limits you in your choices. So there may be choices that you don't even consider because of the model.
Okay, I am off to bed.
Okay,
Good
thank you
night.
very much,
Thank you
Paper.
much. Good night.
Good night. Is anybody? Oh, I've got a message from Blue Marble. Blue Marble Science. Let me have a quick look on the Discord. He always sends me some really fun messages on the Discord. Oh, he might have deleted it. Yeah, appears to have deleted it. Oh, you might have blocked me, Blue. I think Blue might have hidden me. He sent me a message and then hidden it. Oh, you'll have to unblock us, Blue, if you want me to have any messages. Maybe. Sloping horizontals, Blue. Did somebody block his other account? Might have been upset. We'll go over and have another chat again, Blue. Got hoodwinked on the way in there last time. Said we'd have a chat. Only ever ended up having a chat about horizontals. Well, you didn't want to talk about horizontals. It's a strange place we're in at the minute. But if you do ever want to talk about proofs within reality, Blue, or any mathematics, anything to do with, just normal surveying, give us a shout or hit us up. I don't know whether to put some stuff out tomorrow. Would that be all right? Just put some stuff out for people to listen to, conversations that we've had. Maybe see you back on Wednesday. I've got loads of stuff to put out, so maybe I'll start putting out just conversations without making the Buster tracks. Just put some sheer straight out conversations, podcast style, out if that's all right with everybody to have a listen to. I mean, if you want to come and have the conversations live, then you know where to come. Hit the Discord and come and have the conversations. And if you want to come on the road trips with us, the best way to find out about that is to just jump in Discord, and you can come and be part of the conversations. Hopefully we should be doing quite a few more of these things. Let me just get a Buster song queued up. We haven't had the greatest speech for quite a while. Thank you very much for watching. We are going to be doing a lot more of this sort of stuff because I'm personally interested in it. If everybody's around here, nobody's asking. We will, for anybody still listening, I know there's only 22. I should have done this earlier while there was more people around. We will be going over again the Introduction to Western Philosophy at the Hillsdale College. So sign up, come on to the Discord, and we'll go over it at some point. Probably work out a day for us to go over these things. Have a meet up. We'll just go over the courses. We can go over it live anytime, sort of thing. So if you do want to get involved in that, come on in at the time, or just come into Discord and we'll work out when the best time for us to go over these sort of things is going to be. It doesn't have to be at the normal 8 o'clock UK time. It could be at another time. We just go over it. So come on in and we'll see you then. Anyone got any other final words or anything?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead then, Rob.
I have this song itching in my head, and it kind of goes do 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 do, and it's the one with the I have an image in my mind. You remember that one? Speaking of Hillsdale College, it just started playing in my head.
Yeah, okay. The ontology, advanced simplicity.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
We can do that. Okay, so this is the professor from the course that we're going to be going over. Please do come and join us, because these are the good stuff. I think where we learn the most. Better within conversation too. Come and join us soon. Advanced Simplicity, world's famous Buster. Oh.
Let me give you an analogy. And I already have the idea in my mind. Existence must be necessary to the idea.
Advanced simplicity takes hold. You'll find truth from things of old.
I have an idea in my mind. I have an idea in my mind that a triangle exists. The idea in my mind. But the angles of a triangle do not add up to 180 degrees. Think about it. I have an idea in my mind that a triangle exists. But the angles of a triangle do not add up to 180 degrees. What's the conclusion?
We are on the road, suspending judgment until the truth is known.
Think about it.
You will find peace within, in the midst of all these troubled souls.
I have an idea in my mind. What's the conclusion? You don't know what a triangle is. Or you're flat out contradicting yourself.
Advanced simplicity takes hold.
You're flat out contradicting yourself.
You'll find truth from things of old.
You don't know what a triangle is. Or you're flat out contradicting yourself. Just as it is necessary for a triangle to have 180 degrees. What's the conclusion? You don't know what a triangle is. Or you're flat out contradicting yourself. Think about it. It is necessary for a triangle to have 180 degrees. That is a necessary property of triangularity, triangleness.
We are on the road, suspending judgment until the truth is known.
Think about it.
You will find peace within, in the midst of all these troubled souls.
Therefore, the fool is in a self-contradiction. He violates the principle of non-contradiction.
There's no end game in mind.
Therefore, the fool
It's only the truth that we seek to find.
Violates the principle of non-contradiction.
There's no end game in mind.
The fool
It's only the truth that we seek to find.
Therefore, the fool is in a self-contradiction. He violates the principle of non-contradiction. He simultaneously says, I have an idea of God, and then I don't have an idea of God.
Everyone must see it for themselves. The truth is there for you to find.